Welcome to the show that pulls back the veil on what's been hidden from you. The Baron, whose misadventures within the old-growth forests of his native Oklahoma has led to a new understanding. The understanding that now spreads as a wheat field set ablaze is the fact that the spirit world steers our perceptions of the monstrous beasts. The dry places in which the devils of this world are cast call these forests home as well. Nefarious parties who've long hidden in shadows are now having a light shined on them. That light shines through darkness, and the darkness perceives it not. An awakening is beginning to manifest within the hearts and minds of mankind. Monsters and spirits, man and beast, all will be revealed. Welcome to the original Late Show. Now, help me welcome the captain of this ship along with his trusted ally and first mate, the Baron D. Dawson Merlin the Mad.
Hands down the superior intro. I hadn't played that one in a while, but like it was awesome. James Earl Jones talking.
Yeah, you can't beat James Earl Jones.
Yeah, and he's talking some real truth too. You know what I mean? The one's hidden darkness of this world is having that veil being pulled back, and the light's being shone on them. It's the light that shines through darkness, and the darkness perceiveth it not. It's almost like a wordsmith wrote that, brother.
Almost, ain't it?
Almost, just almost. Ladies and gentlemen, we all welcome back to the BDRP Late Show. Doggone it. Tonight's a very special night for me because it's my genuine pleasure to have another roundtable. Y'all obviously liked it. It's the roundtable we did is doing better than the interview with Kungbo. More people seen it so far. The interview with Kungbo sneaking up on it, but that's phenomenal. Which tells me you folks like to listen to things that you're concerned about, things that you care about being discussed by us. And that's a wonderful thing. You care about the same things we care about. And folks, we're taking the reins back. Let not your heart be troubled. So without further ado, you hear me talk about him all the time. I'll give him shameless plugs and we'll continue to do so until he reaches that 1 million subscribers, which he's on his way there. The one I call nephew, Zach from World Weather Authority, folks.
Thank you very
much,
much,
Zach.
Doss.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me on here. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, you're part of this family. Absolutely. Welcome. And of course, G Reaper, the man, the myth, the legend. This guy's had more adventures than Indiana Jones. Mr. Stephen Benjamin. What's up, Steve-O?
Hey, what's happening, brother?
What's going on?
Another day on the farm.
Yeah.
Right on, right on. So tonight, the topic was all the madness and the madmen that are involved in the Dogman topic. We've seen myself over the years, as I'm sure Merle has too, just from the other side of it, seen a lot of folks who they're lost in the sauce that are involved with Dogman. Not so much Bigfoot. It's almost like a separate thing. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
there's a lot of people with emotional stuff going on, mental stuff. There's a lot of drug addiction. There's a lot of alcoholism. Believe it or not, in Dogman, and nobody ever really talks about it, but that's something tangible that not just the experiencers, it's not even really the experiencers that I've talked to or the people that have had encounters. It's the folks that are following this stuff with such a fervent, I don't even know what you'd call it, like obsession, really.
Yeah.
And it's almost got its own, there's a spirit to it. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah. I
it's
think
ooky
there
spooky.
is.
It's ooky spooky to me, bro. I think there is as well.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some kind of spirit attached to it for sure.
It's almost tangible. You can almost feel it sometimes.
It is.
You like, I started going back and I looked at some of the stuff from this last little incident, if you want to call it that. And I was watching some of the, it draws the spirit of anger into me. You know what I mean? Like, so anytime it's a negative spirit or a negative spirit's attached to someone, it's always we all have a proclivity towards some sort of a undesirable emotion. Some of us have anger problems. Some of us have we get down in the dumps. We get blue often. But we're not supposed to dwell in those emotions. We're supposed to lay them down on the altar to the Lord and pray that he takes them away from us and replaces it with peace and joy. And you don't see a lot of that happen in the world, least of all the subject. And
Exactly.
it's
One
a
of the
sad
things
thing.
that's one of the things that's kind of stuck out to me about it, and this is the God's honest truth. I mean, it ain't so much the people that see it that have the
Yeah.
issues that you would think. I mean, don't get me wrong, some people do, especially if they're at an age where, you know, their worldview's already formed and it happens to them. I've seen it be that way more so than when people are
Yeah.
younger, like happened with me. But it's the people that want to hear about it and the people that
Yes.
talk about it and monetize it,
Yep.
where you can especially see there's something going on.
And it doesn't have to be, especially like with the folks that monetize it, because you can tell the truth and be rewarded for that. You can be honest and forthcoming and bring on people who are going to be forthcoming and have discernment, vetting these folks before you present them to a mass of people, because it's an obsessive thing, like I said, this subject. And from the time I started back in 2014, which is crazy, till right now, like I've seen, it's almost like it's not even the other side of a coin. It's like a completely different currency, you know?
It is.
With all the things coming at us now, though, how do you vet it? How do you vet their story? How could you ever?
How could I ever? That's an interesting question. Bro, there's certain things that, especially after I had my experience with one, there's certain things and certain attributes and
Yeah,
situational, environmental things
I see
that
that.
are going to be prevalent during all of it that we don't really discuss all that often. That's one way of doing it. And just discernment of the Holy Spirit, really. I mean, without that, we could have deductive reasoning. I mean, every man on this panel is sharp, and I know you guys can see through bullshit like Superman through a brick wall, but sometimes they do slip through the cracks, and some folks, like there was a gentleman years ago. I'm not gonna call no names, even though, you know, I don't mind calling names, but he was staring people, saying like they would give an experience or give an encounter and want to be a guest on the show, and he'd be like, we need to juice it up right here. We need to skip over this part because that's the boring part. This is what these people live through. It's a traumatic type experience that they had to deal with. And unless you have had that experience, in my opinion, unless you have had that experience or have a deep sense of empathy, you're not really going to be able to handle those people in the way they should be handled.
I'll be honest with you, when I saw that when I was a teenager, at a time when, you know, you have the most neuroplasticity to be able to accept things, you know.
Yeah.
I blocked it out. I'll be honest with you. I convinced myself I was high or I had some kind of mental breakdown. There was something wrong with me.
Bro, I was
And
a
that
grown
didn't
man.
really happen
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
was a
I'm
grown
saying?
man and convinced myself the same things. I don't feel bad. Like, it's hard. What do you do with it? I mean, just seeing these things and trying to describe them to somebody.
And what gain is there to come out and tell people, oh, yeah, I saw this? I grew up in an era where if you went around telling people you saw a werewolf,
It's true. Exactly.
they would have come out and put you in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
They'd have locked you up.
Even though the more you look into it, the more you see that across the board, like, I think the general public, in the back of their minds, they knew, especially back then. You know what I mean? The word of mouth that travels. And that's what gets me about Dogman in particular. Bigfoot, every tribe in the United States, everyone that I've ever studied, has an account of these creatures. And they call them different things, but they're given the same description. You know what I mean? Their physical description, their attributes. Dogman's the same.
We have a genetic memory of it.
I think so. That's where I was getting to.
Yeah, and like a lot of Christians, I know there's such thing as genetic memory. I took martial arts when I was younger, a good bit, and I watched I guess he was right around 2 years old. He's somewhere between 18 months and 24 months. Do a perfect snap kick. I mean, just spun around and pow. I thought, are you kidding me? You know how long it took me to learn how to do that? You little turd.
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
you just get it with a download, right? When you came in here. What's up with that? I know that.
It's just like you said, a download. We can observe this in other creatures in nature. The monarch butterfly is the perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole from their gestation period or gestation. How do you say it? Is it gestation or gustation? It's gestation.
Gestation is actually the
Gestation.
correct way.
All right, I've heard it both ways, but one's for us Southerners, and the other one's for the rest of the world. But the monarch butterfly, from the time that they come from the larva, all the way through their migration, they go through, I think, 1.5 generations. But somehow they still follow that route. The exact
Just like
same
the
route.
salmon. They go to the exact place of their birth.
Yep, the same spawning grounds, and it's
Even
look
down
at
to
that
the
kind of
same
stuff.
tree.
Yeah. So I mean, that right there in nature, we're all part of creation. You know, we're higher than the beasts and the critters like that. But I mean, when it boils down to it, I believe
pretty
that a lot
awesome.
of people it is awesome. We serve an awesome God. I think a lot of these people who have these what do they call them, where they have past life experiences, they go under hypnosis, and then they start kind of getting memories back from their so-called past life. I think that they're getting memories from one of their ancestors. That's why they look like them, and yeah, they say they look in the mirror and they look like their dad. I read a lot about these people who go under hypnosis and have these experiences, and I believe that's what it is. I really do.
I do a lot of it. Some of it, I'll be honest with you, I think it's demonic.
That's another part of it.
But a lot of it, I think, is ancestral memories, yes.
And the sad thing about the demonic is, I mean, it'll attach to you, and you have the familiar spirits that have been through generation after
They have
generation.
details about these past lives, that things that nobody else would know that they did.
Intimate details, yeah. And thoughts too, as far as we know, because if someone, Lord forbid, had an inundation, if they were actually possessed at one point in time with it, then that spirit has every memory that they have, every experience. That's spooky.
That's almost like quantum entanglement. You know, whenever you, it's basically like it's interconnected. You know, two particles or two beings could be interconnected.
Yep.
It's definitely pretty crazy.
But it's crazy. But I mean, especially quantum entanglement, when you start getting down to the examples of it, it's crazy. But the possibilities from it somehow make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
You know what I mean? Like it's, and that's not
Spooky action at a distance.
Spooky action at a distance.
There it is, right there. Yep.
That stuff gets scary. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just reading something about it the other night. Of course, it escapes me. There's two types. There's two ways of looking at the universe. There's basically a static universe where everything that's supposed to happen happens, and then there's the chaotic universe where the butterfly flapping its wings in Tokyo, Japan, causes a hurricane in Florida or something like that. I think it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just too much weird stuff, and of course God's involved because the timing of some things is impeccable. You know what I mean? Like you can't. I don't know.
Can't get around it.
Yeah.
You can't get around it. Yeah. Would G Reaper asleep on us already?
No, sir. I'm right here.
Yeah, hit that mute button real quick. He's like, nope.
He's just chilling out on this portion of the festivities, huh?
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to talk about that shit.
Oh, no.
This is the fun part of it, though, man. Like
It is.
that, and you know better than anybody. Like way back then, when I remember how I discovered the CERN Large Hadron Collider and the quantum field and all that kind of stuff. I was watching a sermon, which I didn't even know was a sermon at the time, from Charles Lawson. And I was like, because I thought the way he was speaking, I thought he was a teacher, a professor or something, very eloquent. And I was like, what's this professor doing at this church talking about this machine over here in Switzerland? Because I mean, you know, he brought it back to the Bible at the very end, but he was just really giving a layman's, a description of what it is and what it does, and the dangers of it and whatnot. And that's how I discovered him. But after that, I was hooked. Like I exhausted everything I could on that thing, and quantum entanglement, the quantum mechanics, and all that kind of stuff. That's fancy words for the goings on of the spirit world, if you ask me.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Let's see, we got some people piling in here. Awesome.
Good
Shane
deal.
Powers, Mainline Mitch, Brother Heck, KHR797. Mainline Mitch, because I like him that much. Mainline Mitch he's a super savage, bro. Awesome.
Yeah.
Romans 116 blessed. Romans got to go over on the other channel. If you haven't seen it yet, I did an interview with a former field investigator for the old school BDRP named Miss Victoria, and it was phenomenal. It was like old times. So I think the link to that is in the description box of the last video. Keith Blunt, Qbot. Guitars, Guns, and Ghosts. Man with the coolest name on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's actually my uncle right there.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Him and Mr. Merlin get along just fine. Merlin's another shredder.
Awesome.
Jeebs. Poopy Jeebs.
That's why y'all were hearing the music when you first come in. I was practicing something.
Jeffrey Lane says, what's up, Jeff? Says, in my opinion, the Howling, an American Werewolf in London, was soft disclosure for Dogman and Road Rules. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. Like,
yeah.
And it's also part of their witchcraft, too. If they show you what's really going on and you don't protest, then you give it silent permission to, work in your life. That's old school magic. Belinda Kruger, Shane Powers, ain't seen them in a while, and that's it. Thank you guys for showing up to this.
I like this question by Brother Heck.
Roundtable.
Check this out. He says, have y'all heard any stories of Lizard Man? I think I remember G Reaper speak about his dad seeing one or something, if my memory isn't failing.
Yes.
Yeah, I was lost in the sauce.
I'd like to hear about that. I've heard a story about a lizard.
You got to hit us with this, Mr. Wallflower.
He's a Mr. Wallflower.
This shit is BANANAS. I'm going to sit back and listen.
Okay, now, my dad, he had a lot of activity over there in this area. So we was walking to the store. And he wanted to show me this river where the Bigfoot and the Lizard Man be at. So I just hopped my little happy ass down in there. He like, son, get out of there. And I saw these 3-toe tracks, and I looked up, one popped up, and he took off, and I took off after him. And he lost me because it got a little deep, a little soggy back there in that river. And my dad just screaming, come back, son, come back. Oh my God. But he didn't come in after me though, but he was screaming for me. And then somebody asked me this real serious question. The Baron, what were you gonna do if you caught him? I was like, I didn't get that far. I really didn't know, but I was lost in the sauce back then, man. I mean, I chased his behind. That thing was getting it. And he hit that little patch of water, and he took up like a snake in the water. He was gone.
That's crazy.
But I took pictures of it. Oh,
there was one in Oklahoma too. And what's crazy is it was a highway patrolman and an off-duty. What do you call it? The ladies that take the calls at the police station.
Dispatcher, 911 dispatcher.
Yeah. An off-duty dispatcher in Oklahoma City. They said it looked like a 4 to 4.5 foot tall frog that was standing straight up like a man. He walked across the street, looked at him, hissed at him, and then jumped over a guardrail into the woods.
Wow.
Now,
There ain't nothing gonna do that. When I'm in a vehicle, I will run it smooth over.
I'm telling you.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm jerking that shifter down and I'm hitting the gas. Brrr, right across it.
And it wouldn't mean a thing. I'd be like running over walnut. I wouldn't feel anything for it. Sleep like a baby.
Yeah. Thinking I done the world a service.
Exactly. That Shmiha guy. And I mean he's a little bit of he's kind of a sociopath the way he explained it. But Justin Smeha, I think his name is. Y'all remember that cat? He shot that female Bigfoot
Yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah.
and one of her cubs.
Oh,
And the way
yeah.
I believe he really did it, just from the descriptions he was giving and everything. I believe him. And
He
he
sounded
passed
like a
a lie detector test.
sociopath.
Yes, because he said that I don't even want to repeat it, but he said that, you know, he said he said he saw these he shot the mother, and when she was on all fours going back into the woods trying to hit the tree line from about 60 yards away, I think it was. And he talked about the shot. He was a poacher, so he knew what he was doing. He shot it right up the butt. And I mean, any hunter knows that's
yeah.
that's
the
all
shot.
sorts of death. Yeah, that's the shot.
Yeah.
And he
That's the
said she
magic
stumbled
button.
back in. That's the magic button. I mean, hitting all the organs. That's all kinds of death. But shot it right up the butt, and it stood up and then fell and stumbled back into the woods. And he made his partner, who was driving, pull over. And he was like, "Man, I don't want to pull over that damn thing, because it was, you know, pretty good sized adult female. He's one that gets him yonder." So he was the smart man of the bunch. But they tracked the blood into the woods, and it made it like 40 yards or something in the brush, which is a good long way for you folks who been out there in those old growth forests. But he said when he came upon it, it was still, you know, going through its death throes, death rattle. And he saw two adolescents that were the size of like a 5-6-year-old. And after this, he describes it just like I'm telling you. I'm going to try to get it verbatim. They look like feral black kids. But something told me they didn't belong. And he shot one off this hill, and he said it rolled and hit him in the leg. And he was like, his buddy was like, "You just shot that kid." And he said he picked the thing up and threw it at his chest. And this dead like squatch hits him in the chest, and he looks down and he sees that it's, you know, obviously not human. But all that stuff leads to the fact that this dude is probably the pre-story to the Joker in the Batman comic books, because that's kind of crazy. Like, oh, I thought it was a human kid, but it didn't belong, so I shot it. And it rolls down a hill, it hits his legs.
Then it didn't look right.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, but he said it was hair covered. He thought it was a hair covered feral black kid. But he, in his defense, he did say there was something about it. Yeah, it felt a great disturbance in the forest, I guess.
Yeah, that's
the way he
didn't look right.
I gotta find that video, because people aren't.
You know, Meryl,
it's on YouTube.
I have never seen one. I don't seen them many times in my life, but I have never seen one on all four like that. Now,
You don't want
he
to.
got the best story.
You don't want to.
It freaks me out, and I just know it would.
I already recounted it I already recounted it tonight on that other show. I'm not saying it again. It's bro.
That was ooky spooky.
There's a reason they call it a spider crawl. I'll put it like that.
Yes. It took me so long to like be able to recount that without feeling crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
It was so terrifying.
It's
But
like
it
something
didn't
out of
even
a damn
register
horror
as being
movie.
scary. Yes. It didn't even register as being scary when it happened. This thing like dug underneath this they're not bramble bushes. That's what I've been calling them, but they're not bramble bushes. This hedgerow of whatever kind of bush, it dug underneath that at the speed of light and popped out on the other side where I was, and then spider crawled over, and it had such like irky jerky, like almost machine type movement to it. It was elegant almost. It was an awkward type of elegance, is what I say, the way it moved. But it moved like a spider, and it was big. It was as big as what I was at the very least. And it looked up at me, and its neck, now I think about it, its neck bent like in a weird way to look.
Yeah.
At. You know what I'm saying? Like how it was like it folded back, and it clatched its teeth at me like.
And it makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck, doesn't it?
Then teeth go to clacking.
And then it pushed its way the same way it came. It pushed itself backwards and kind of like wiggled back through that hole. After that, I mean, my memory shot.
That's what freaked me out. To see one of them things crawling up on you, and when they know you've seen them, they start doing the same thing backwards and don't even look like a damn spider running backwards and don't even turn around and look where they're going.
It was unnatural looking. And it followed its exact same path. It looked like somebody hit rewind on reality.
Yes. It's like something out of a horror movie.
A horror movie's ass, bro. That's something out of like being kidnapped by a real tribe of cannibals. Nah. them sharpening the knives and cooking and setting the oven on.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of to try to.
Yeah, for lack
The
of a
way
better
it
word.
does it, yeah, the way it moves, it's like something out of a horror movie. Just the way it moves.
It is freaky the way. I mean, it looked like because all the movements, it looked like it looked awkward the way it was moving, but it moved like it didn't. There was no bouncing back and forth. It was just kind of glided almost. I don't know. Damn that thing. And that was the teenager too. That was that teenager that was always on my ass like back pockets, man. All the time he was trying to do something. I think he was trying to get me to mess up, honestly.
He wanted to smoke your game.
He wanted to smoke my game in a bad way, bro. Like that video that I got of him when I thought it was a stump. Like he's not chewing on something, just get mean mugging me. Like this son of a bitch. What's he doing in here? I think he was offended at my presence, bro. I've always felt that.
Bust a move, homeboy. I got you.
I found a picture of it. Did I save that picture? I don't think I did because it was too weird. I think I may have shown you, so I didn't have to save it. The one I found on Pinterest of that spider crawl.
I ain't seen it.
I probably didn't send it to you because I didn't want nothing to do with it. So,
Man, that made me get the shivers.
Since he brought it up, I had to. And that's not even the entire incident. That's when I saw the alpha female shortly after that. While my mind's recovering from that trauma, basically, I look over and then there's these little glowing black glass inside the bush. And that's not a bush at all. That's a head. And those are eyes. And that was the alpha female.
Yeah.
And she, I had a, I don't know if she wants me saying her name, but she's a female chief of a tribe here in the States. And she said that this thing was reading my heart when it was looking at me like that. And whatever that means. But I do know this, that alpha female came out when that homeboy was down there, like gassing me up saying, oh, well, that's from the flood and this is from this. I was showing them legit stuff. And you hear that, boom, 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 boom. They're not wood knots. One thing Dr. J said that I agree with is it's an explosion of kinetic energy of some kind.
It's something.
They're not wood. You can't replicate exactly what they're doing when they do that. And I think Kirk Stokes and there was another gentleman, it may have been Scott Carpenter, but I was learning from all these guys, and they said when you hear one, that means that they see you and they have time to move back. If you hear two, you're right up on them, and if you hear three, you need to back up and leave. This was 4, and they were the loudest ones I've ever heard, before or after that. And the alpha female just walked across the trail in front of all of us, 5 people, and she had glowing red eyes, and she looked at that dude, or she looked at me for a brief second, right in the eyes, and I didn't feel no fear from her. I felt, it's crazy to say, I felt comfort. Like I think she was coming out there to protect me, or in her mind at least. But it's the only time I was ever angry in that area. And she walked across the trail. She briefly looked at me, and she looked at him, and got something I'll never understand. She stood behind a tree. Even though it's dusky dark, we all saw her walk across the trail. But she went from behind one tree, across the trail, to behind another one, and was staring at that dude with glowing red eyes. Glowing red eyes. Wow, I was right. Yeah. This shit's kind of scary for me to be involved in it for this long.
Yeah. Well, I told you the story about what happened to me at my uncle's trailer.
Yeah, tell it again, because y'all think that one's scary that I told.
We were out there, just having a good old redneck time, throwing steaks on the grill, listening to some music, as we used to do. And after the steaks got done, we went inside and ate, and everybody went home. Well, I was up there spending the week with my uncle in North Alabama. And after we got through eating dinner, everybody went to bed, turned off all the lights, and I was laying there on the couch. And one of them things roared. On the trailer was sitting like at the bottom of a hill like this, and it was kind of leveled off on one spot, a bench on it with a trailer there. And that thing just roared from the top of the hill. It sounded sort of like a man mixed with a lion and a train at one point. the way that thing roared.
Yeah.
And it comes stomping down that hill. I mean, you could feel every time that thing's foot hit the ground, just boom, boom, boom.
And that's crazy, bro. Like that's how heavy they are. And that's why I didn't understand how
Yeah.
that female snuck up on us, man. That's the
Yeah.
scariest part.
And that thing run up and slapped the side of the trailer.
Hmm.
Right where I was laying on the couch, knocked me out in the floor. And my uncle comes running out and hands me a shotgun and a flashlight, and we go out and of course we shoot the woods up. I'm not gonna act like we didn't. We shot the woods up. You know. But we go back there and look at the back of that trailer, and there's just a little bitty tiny indentation there. How did that thing knock me off the couch and not indent the wall no more? You know how flimsy a trailer wall is.
Yeah, you can drive a butter knife through some of them.
Yeah. The thing just said, run up to it, whop, knock me out on the floor. I don't think that they like Van Halen. I'm like old Coonwell about that.
No, they don't like Van Halen. They don't like Led Zeppelin for sure, bro. Or Pink Floyd either. Pink Floyd was
all
melodic,
three.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all three was present and accounted for. And Kiss, too.
I guarantee you they don't like Kiss.
There was this old dude that was just a Kiss fanatic, and he would get, here, play this, play this. So
There has to be something with the you know, that vibrational frequency. What are you doing, nephew? There's young women in the chat that said, tell your nephew turn that camera back on.
There we go.
See, there he is. They said D can turn his camera off, but nephew had to turn his camera on.
I'm wondering with Dogman and all these other creatures, I wonder if they have some kind of quantum visibility with them. You know, they can turn it off, turn it on at, you know, at will. You
But see, if they can do that kind of stuff at will, then they're not beasts. There's some sort of, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's hard for me to reconcile that because they don't have sense enough to shit. Like in some place, I won't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they got too many animalistic traits to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But bro, there has to be something to that. Like I say, where did that female come from? We're right at the mouth of the trail. It was thick, but I mean, and it was dusky dark. But so, you know what I'm saying? Like this thing was 8 feet tall, 8 feet tall, and massive, like massive frame, and like bro was saying, big brother was saying, you could feel it and hear it when she was walking. Boom, boom. It would have been terrifying if it weren't such just that, and they do something to the environment too, like around them. They have their own atmosphere. Always said, like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can literally feel something when they come around.
You can feel them long before you see them, especially if you're like hunting in the woods and you're sitting there on the stand or whatever, and you're not moving, making no sound.
Distinct.
You can literally, I could close my eyes and point to where they're at when that's going on. I felt them that strongly. And then all of a sudden, the mosquitoes coming through in a wall.
That's that second experience I had, bro. With the one that popped up underneath that bush and the alpha female. There was a wall, and I knew it in my heart. I've never seen one up to that point, but I knew that's where they were. And it was literally a wall of mosquitoes and
flies.
And they don't stink all the time like people say they do. They smell like barn animals. If you ever had an uncle or somebody that had goats, they smell like, you know, wild animals.
I grew up having cows, and I can vouch for that. You get close to them, that's what you smell. It smells like an old cow or a horse.
That has to be like a gland or something that they have.
I think it's just their sweat. It's just their sweat.
That stinks?
Yes.
It stinks like rotten.
You ain't never got a whole the rotten stuff. I don't know about so much. Yeah, I think that's probably a gland. I'm just talking about the fact that they smell like a farm animal.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I mean, that has to be what it is. Just like any other animal, they got to lose that water somewhere to cool themselves off.
Yep.
Man, just like D said, they can be pretty disrespectful. I had like 4 zones. Well, I call them zone 1, 2, 3, and 4. Zone 2 was the point of no return. Like if you went the halfway point, you just out there then. I got a zone 2 one day, Maryland. This sucker just
one day's
ass.
He's all the time in zone 2. Don't let him fool you.
Man, and he just walked right in front of me. And he laid a log across the whole trail. And I'm just looking at him
Yeah.
like, you just so disrespectful.
There were a
And
trip
I
up there where you are, bro. They're a trip.
and I was
Yeah.
trying to call people, how do you get a sample of this? What do you do? But nobody answered the phone. Did nobody tell me?
Yeah, I
And
don't blame him.
then
I wouldn't come out there and pick that up neither.
then one person coming back hours later after it had rained and washed it all away. You supposed to get a Ziploc bag and put it in your freezer. I'm like, I'm not putting that in my freezer.
No.
No way.
No.
I don't want to know that bad.
But he just walked right in front of me, just walking along, just
Who told you to
laying
put it?
along.
Who told you to put it in your freezer? Do what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Thundercloud.
Oh man, talk about lost in the sauce. I would have put him in the freezer. What is he talking about?
I tell you what, you come on up here and I dunk your head. You can take the
No joke.
phone,
It's
put it in
it's
your
cool how all
freezer.
these people have these suggestions. You know what I'm saying? Suggesting this and that when they're not dealing with them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, it's a whole bunch of folks got some real crazy suggestions when they're not dealing with them, telling you what to do and how to get rid of them. And it didn't work.
No, sir.
A lot of them I didn't even attempt to do. Like I had this one joker, he told me, because one used to come up there, tap on the window, scratching the window. He said, hey, put a mirror right there in the window so when he look up, he'll see yourself.
Yeah, so you'll beat the side of your house off? That makes a lot of sense.
It sure does, don't it? I'm like, you never seen a bird in the mirror? Or
Yeah, I got an idea. Once you get a steak in each hand and rub yourself down with some bacon grease and some sauteed onions. And
Yeah, and go out. Yeah.
Well, now I know one who will do that now. Seriously. He will do it.
I'll tell you what.
I bet you do.
And I didn't tell this for quite some time. They have fake pheromones. Lab for these pheromones and that cheap cologne and stuff. I went to the dollar store because I figured they're animals if they fake pheromones and stuff. I went to the dollar store and it was Dollar Tree, I think, where everything's like $1, and bought a whole box of perfume and men's cologne because they would have the opposite pheromones in them. And I smashed them in this one place. It like past the threshold where we are, because there's the areas. Even if nobody knows anything about the area, they're not going to go past certain thresholds. I think it's innately in them to feel it. But I went just a little bit past threshold, and I just started, cracked them open with a little hammer, and I poured them all on this one log.
Oh.
And I remember when I was leaving. Yeah, when I was leaving, bro, like you hear one. And it started stomping out. You could see the brush moving. I was like, oh shit. Because I was like 200 yards in there. You know what I'm saying? And like the whole time. And then up where I was going, like one's not, that one wasn't going crazy, but he's just walking. I could tell he was just walking straight up. Wasn't belly crawling or nothing. Because I seen the movement of it. I was like, oh shit. So I boomeranged. I went towards the river and made a big horseshoe, and like there was all sorts of commotion going on over there by that stick. It was like
there was.
I'll say stick. It was like a log from a tree because they pile trees. It was something to them because you could tell they had drug trees from different areas to this place. It may have been entrance or something. They could have been watching me the whole time. Like, what is this son of a bitch doing?
It's bad enough when somebody gets on the elevator we would have cheap cologne on with a bunch of it.
Oh,
Can you imagine them pouring it in your house like that? That'd probably beat you to death.
He probably wanted to. And the time I heard the alpha male out there, that was the very next time I came, and you could tell it was a good ways away, but you could hear it. You could hear it walking, and that has to be a scare tactic because that thing wasn't King Kong, but it sounded like it.
Yeah.
16 likes and 69 watchers. Outstanding. Come on, folks, hit that like button. Don't cost you nothing. But time is on our side here at the BDRP. Not really. Time is being shortened for the elect's sake. For if time were not shortened, there'd be no flesh left alive, is what my Bible says.
Well, that means time's on our side then, don't it?
Exactly. You
Yes,
see how that works? I'm going to heaven, Lieutenant Dan. I'd rather smell old people than crappy cologne. You remember going to church and there'd be all that little cluster of old women that had that I don't know what kind of perfume it is, but it's only marketed to old women that sit in the middle pews at church of all different races, because they would spray this and it would tear my sinuses all to hell.
Probably
Only in
curve.
church though.
Mhm.
I don't know what it was, but it stunk to all be damned. And
I know what it was. It's called white lavender.
That's it.
Is it really?
It's the dad
Yep.
of that pearl. Because woo.
The eyes watering, and of course, when I was a little kid, my mom would sit me by them because she was a Sunday school teacher. She'd be like, sit over here with Miss such and such. And I'm like, oh my God.
Mhm. I used to work around somebody that had that on. Man, it was.
Yo, somebody outside of church wore that stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh. I thought it was only allowed to be worn in church or something. Because I'm telling you, like, that's the only place I've ever smelled it.
My grandmother was a minister's wife, a Southern Baptist minister, and that's what she wore.
Yep, that sounds about right. They had to have ordered that from some Southern Baptist magazine that only they got or something.
All them church ladies smelled on each other and liked it and told each other about it. It
And
spread. That's my
It spread like wildfire throughout all time.
It was like crack. Just
Yep.
It was out.
Probably one of the founding fathers' wives came in with it on, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's wonderful." Shane Powers just said it. Welcome to the BDRP Roundtable. Random story. Thank you, Shane, for cluing in, Peanut Head. What's up, Peanut Head? Man, we had some people piling in here for a second.
It seems people like that.
Nate Long coming in with the vulgarity. It's not the AM show yet. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. Click attack. Oh, mainline Mitch in there probably firing somebody up.
Mainline Mitch, my main man. Mary,
The wild woman.
One of these hold on.
That's another cool name. The Wild Woman. Their last name's Wild.
Yeah, sort of like old Zach Wild.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Zach Wild.
Yeah.
You folks give us a topic. We're guns or sharpshooters, gun hands.
Oh yeah.
Throw something in there that you would like us to expand upon. I think that's Zach Wild's wife, bro. If it is,
Your husband
tell you-
shreds.
yeah, he's an awesome guitarist. One of the best of all time, in my opinion.
Matter of fact, I got one of his guitars. I like it. I like it a lot.
Talk about just the first one in there. Shout out Big Chungus, Tim Allen. Tim Allen? I don't think Tim Allen be talking about trying to sell Bitcoin. I may be wrong. He may be hitting hard times since they canceled that show.
No, they got him back in there being, what's his name? Buzz Lightyear again. Disney called him up, said it's time to come back to him.
And answer your question, Tim Allen, I would not do that, but I mean, you've had more money than I've probably ever had in my entire life, so that would be a call that you'd have to make. Aliens and Portals, those are two great ones.
Portals, yeah.
Zach, what's your idea on aliens and their origin and what they are?
That's hard to say. I mean, it seems like they're interdimensional to me. I'm not sure if they're actually flesh and blood or not. They're definitely some kind of spirit, I think. The interdimensional spirit.
Yeah, I can see that.
I agree with that. I think that they're I'll get to mine last and be a good and gracious. So, Mr. G Reaper, what's your thoughts on
Yes, sir. Well, aliens?
it? Yes, that's what we're
Oh, the
talking about.
origin
Yeah,
of them.
aliens.
Okay. The origin of them. I think they come from another dimension. They might come from a parallel universe that they know how to travel, through time and space through these portals and stuff, but they scared the daylights out of me, though. I don't want no deals with them. Never ever again.
My mom
Well,
actually
dadgummit, now
has
you got to
a
tell.
story about that. I'll have to.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
said never
mention it.
again.
Yeah, you can't do that. What's the matter with you? So first, since Steve-O spoke up, wanting to bait us into asking him about it.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
yours is pretty It is pretty ooky spooky. And
Yes,
Zach,
it is.
you want to share yours afterwards, if you want?
No, Zach can go first.
Oh no, I was saying my mom actually had a crazy experience with aliens. I'll have to somehow get her on here eventually.
Yeah, I'd love to interview her. Or have a conversation. I really don't interview people. Just talk to them. But so that's your answer, Steve-O?
No, I'm sorry, man.
All right, no worries.
I had 2 encounters with them. Well, when I was young, I was about 12, wanted some smoke. I was wanting some smoke growing up. But anyway, my little sister, I don't know what was wrong with that child. She was always out there. She had, you remember them old box flashlights that had the big cell battery in them?
Mm.
And she was always out there at the sky at nighttime, just out there at night, just shining in the sky. I looked out the window like, that little girl's retarded. I was watching TV.
How old was she? How old were y'all when this was taking place?
I was 12, so she had to been around about, no, I was probably about 12, 14. So she probably was about 2 years younger than me. So whatever.
Like 11, 12, somewhere.
Yeah, so I went back to watching TV. You
left your sister out there at night with shining up in the sky? That's terrible.
Whatever. I was watching my little what was it, 18-inch TV? I was watching my little TV, man. I was studying that. So she was whatever. So, I had had my antenna right. So I'm watching TV. So whatever. So anyway, so she came
Bro, I just got the image of you looking out the window and like, nah. Your sister shining like this guy.
So one night she asked me to come outside with her. So I said, Rita, what are you doing? She said, watch this. And she'll do a little loop-de-loop in the sky. Then a ball light pop up, do the same thing. And she do a zigzag, it did a zigzag. I walked back down the driveway. Gravel was crunching up under my feet. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I went back in the house and turned my TV back on. I'm like, you can have that one, little buddy. So she kept doing that for about a month or two, and I heard my mama. She was screaming. I turned the TV down. I heard her say, Benji, get the gun. And that's all I need to hear. I done grab my 12 gauge. I'm running out the door, and I look. Now, we live in the country, so, we had that long gravel road. Red dirt road coming down the driveway. And these 2 orbs is just floating down the driveway. They big orbs. I'm talking about like the size of let me see, what's the circumference? About the size, I guess if you put 2 Volkswagen Bugs, like one on the bottom, one on the top, it was about like that. It was just 2 big oars. They were just coming down the driveway, going up. They stopped. They turned towards each other. They turned back straight, and they was coming. And I'm looking like, oh my God, this is encounter the third kind. I'm sitting there like mouth open, gun pointed at the ground. I froze. My mama said, "Fool, shoot them damn things." And I snapped out. And I raised my 12 gauge up, and they stopped. And they back up the driveway and shot straight up into the sky. Like, you know what? I'm going to the military. I'm out of here.
Yeah, no doubt.
And my second encounter, I was about 16. I had a 1979 discontinued light color Grand Prix. They used to call it the Nano Boat. That sucker was riding. But anyway, we was coming back from Atlanta. Well, we shouldn't have been up in Atlanta. And we was coming down 85, and I had my cousin with me. He was like a Rottweiler mixed with a pit bull. He was just lost in the sauce. And I look over at him. We playing Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre number the G thing. And I don't see it. I don't believe it. I don't see it. I don't believe it. I'm looking at him like, fool, what is wrong with you? So I turned the radio up. I had them 12. I had 2 12 crunches in the back just romping.
I like your logic on dealing with this stuff. You know what I mean? You see your sister shining lights up into the sky and talking
Whatever.
about craziness. Oh, whatever. Your cousin's talking that mad as you turn the radio off.
Turn the radio up. So I'm like, man, whatever,
That's my
man.
kind of logic.
Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. And then I look over, this fool got tears coming down. So I'm like, boy, I turned the radio. I said, boy, what is wrong with you? And I look at him, and he's looking up. Now he's sinking down to the floor. But I'm like, did he just transform? And he just slinked down on the floorboard. And I tried to look and see what he was looking. Now I look at my hood. Now, you know, them cars back then had a hood on that's long as some people cars. And my hood was like blue, then it turned green. And so I leaned forward and I looked up. I said, oh, Jesus. It was this big round UFO over top of us, looking like something from, you know, Encounters for the Third Kind. It was just, like it was sitting around top of us. Now I'm doing about 80. So I stomped it. Them 4 barrels opened up. Wah! I'm doing about a buck. I'm pegging out. It's just bing, 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 just pegging over there. And this thing is sitting right on top of us. I said, oh my God. And I'm running down to 85, doing about a buck 20 or better. So this thing was sitting right on top of us. And we don't drove about 5 miles because it hit us at the Fairburn exit. And it just followed us down till we got down to the Noonan exit. And then it just went up, bank left, and it was gone. And I broke it down then. So I took him. The boy didn't even let me pull in the driveway. He took the road out my car. I had to slow down and grab that big door and close it. And I ain't gonna lie, when I got home, I pulled up in the yard. I'm sliding on grabbers. I don't know how I jumped out the car, put in park, turned the key out, opened the door at the same time. But man, I ain't come back outside till it was daylight. That was my second time encountering something like that. But it freaked me out, man. It was just sitting around. I said, God, please don't let this thing do like on Star Trek and beam us up, Scotty. I ain't know what it was intending to do.
I've never seen one of those grays or whatever. I've seen plenty of UFOs down there in Oklahoma.
You can see my little sister. She like a gray.
Oh, it's messed up, bro. You always smoking your sister's game. Yeah, no, you always smoking a game. Then y'all try to kill each other.
Is that the sister? That's what I was going to ask. Is that the sister that told you that there can be only one?
There can be only one.
There can be only one. That girl.
Then she proceeded to try to kill you?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all both were. Because y'all did try to make it on. But anyways, bro, my first house I had. Down to what they call, it's the old Chickasaw Reservation here. But you could rent houses in there. And I think the woods around it's messed up. But anyways, there was this light moving in the sky. Me and my friend Nathan, we just got back from somewhere. And I saw it, and he was like, "Oh, well, D, you're stoned. You're not." I was like, "Man, just sit and look." And I had a Oldsmobile Regency '98, one of those big bodies, and we laid on the hood of my car, and yeah, we were smoking a joint. We passed the joint between us for we smoked 2 of them, so maybe an hour. This old redneck dude that lived behind me, like, "What are y'all doing?" And I was like, "Look, there's a UFO up there floating around in the stars." Like, "Oh, y'all just stoned." I was like, "That don't matter. Look." And he was a good old boy. You know what I mean? He probably thought we were just a couple pothead teenagers, but he looked and he looked and he was like, "Oh shit." Yeah. And he went and got a 6-pack of beer in his lawn chair, and we sat out there all night long. The sun was coming up before we went in, and we watched this thing dart around in the sky in between these stars. It would like float to one star, and then it would like shoot across the sky. Then it would float back to that same star, and then it would float to another one. It was madness, and it was obviously not a. It looked like way bigger than one of the stars, and I think it was pretty much. I don't know what it was, honestly.
You remember me telling you there's one flying around behind my house that was the size of the dang Superdome?
Yes.
All lit up. I'll never forget that. Me and my wife were on the back porch, and I was looking at this thing. I took pictures of it with my phone. If they tore my phone up, every picture I took with it after that was purple.
Wow.
But
purple.
we were sitting there. Yeah. We were sitting there looking at it, and she said, "Is that the moon?" I said, hell no, that ain't the moon. The moon don't get that big. And I
What?
looked up, and the moon was up above us, and I pointed, I said, see, the moon's right there. She said, yeah. And I started to go get in the car. She said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to go see how far away that thing is.
It
She
was
said,
big as
no,
the
you're
moon.
not. Well, it was bigger than the moon. I'm telling you.
bananas.
Yeah, it looked like the Superdome over behind my house over there above the trees, floating silently, making no sound, but it was lit up like the Superdome at night. And I started to get in the car to drive down there, and she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to go see how big that thing is. She said, no, you're not. I said, yeah, I am. She said, do you want that thing probing you? I said, now that you mention it, no, I ain't.
That's a wonderful deterrent for all that, man, isn't it?
Yeah. I come in the house, and a few minutes later, we hear little feet on the top of the roof. That's when I started rebuking it in the name of Jesus.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
it was
see,
over as quick as it started.
That was
after
my
you
worst
rebuked it
fear.
in the name of Jesus.
That's right. You can hear them little
There you
feet running
go.
all over the roof. And I said,
Mm-mm.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You get off away from my
Damn
house.
that.
It was gone.
Damn that shit.
Mm-mm.
All right, can I give y'all my theory on what they are at least? Because I mean, I've never seen them.
Go ahead.
All right, I think I've told y'all this before. I believe since they are collecting they're this highly advanced, what is it, type 2 civilization or type 3 civilization
Yeah.
or whatever, allegedly, but they're coming here taking
They
the same
don't know how to
genetic
park.
materials. Yeah, they don't know how to park. They crash all the time. And anybody who, let's stop real fast, hit pause. Anybody who believes that there was a starship that crashed in Los Angeles, I don't know what to tell you. You need to be in one of those new, big, beautiful, insane asylums. There was no glass broken from the buildings. If you go back and look at the pictures or in the video they took, no glass broken, no busted concrete. This thing's going at least past the speed of light, or right at the speed of light, entering our atmosphere. There was no explosion that could be heard for hundreds of miles, because it would be.
No sonic boom.
No sonic booms,
Yeah.
and no busted concrete, no busted glass, no injuries. And this thing lands, and then they see what is described as look like a hat man or a shadow person walking through the yard. Oh yeah, and the only eyewitness to see that was former military. I mean,
yeah, it doesn't line up.
no, it lines up for what we call in France
Croissant.
flim flam.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. But bro, they take the same genetic materials: soft tissue, hard tissue, muscle, blood, and eyeballs.
Bro,
I don't know if you folks have ever seen a cow's eye, but it's pretty big.
Yeah.
And if you believe, like I do, that there's some sort of a demonic,
Well, there's also the
entity.
sexual component. The sexual component where they probing people and impregnating women with all these fetuses and everything. It's crazy.
Yes, bro. And I think that they're impregnating them is right. But I believe that they're taking this genetic material from these cows and building themselves a suit, a bioorganic suit. Because if you believe like I do in their demonic entities, even an atheist, as ignorant as he wants to be, because that's something they choose, they have their own spiritual rights. You can't just go and you have to come into agreement with them in some sort of way, usually
They're
through
a
fear.
flesh creature.
Yeah, and if you have this bioorganic suit that you've made from all this genetic material, you just walk right in it like it's the Mall of America and wear it like an Iron Man suit. You know what I mean? It probably decays very easily, which goes to the point of a lot of people saying they smell like rotten meat. The main one was the guy who worked at the Montauk project, that Preston Nichols guy, grade A scumbag. But
Yeah.
and I don't know if y'all have ever seen any of the documentaries about the Montauk Project. That guy was bragging about ritualistic abuse to those kids.
Yeah.
And apparently he did sound healing or something, but only to teenage boys, of course. That guy was, I don't like speaking ill of the dead, but piss on him. But nevertheless, I think that they've been going about this a long time, and these are the Greys. That's just my opinion on it. That, and I mean, the none of it makes sense. They're going through the Van Allen's radiation belt, space debris, and everything else.
Yeah, cosmic radiation from neutron stars. And
Yeah, to
all
come
this
over here and do what?
madness.
To come here and like just pop people in the butt with probes and
To a backwater universe that don't matter about nothing anyway, just a big mud puddle.
Yeah, they
And
come
you
ready
gonna
to
come down here and molest everything.
Yeah, play with people's booties and kidnap people for a handful of hours or a handful of minutes.
But for some reason, they seem awful concerned about a carpenter that was hanging around about 2,000 years
Yeah,
ago.
they got a lot of opinions on even though they're this type 2 civilization that's supposedly evolved past needing any kind of religion. They've come into this place where they have what do you call it? A hive mind.
Yeah.
But they're talking
A
about
higher
a carpenter.
consciousness.
Yeah, higher
And we just
consciousness.
misunderstood. We misunderstood what he said.
Yeah, you bet. Just like
He
they were
he was really one of them, and he was trying to lift us up, D, to another level, but we just misunderstood him.
Yeah, I know it. You know,
Yeah.
we can always correct that mistake by falling in line with whatever they're talking about. Damn them things. Damn, listen. There's people that come on this channel and dog cuss me because I said just what I told you right then. That's my theory. They'll get on the channel and get in the comment section and give me a good cussing like I said something about one of their kids. And it's for real, bro. Like,
well, you're talking about their gods, D.
Yeah,
that's their religion.
That's exactly right, bro. When you got a doctor, man who's some sort of a doctor, Dr. Greer, going out there and meditating,
praying to them,
and praying, and they show up. Folks, you can see, I mean, open another tab and look at it. Just put in Dr. Greer brings in alien spaceship. He's praying and meditating, allegedly.
And these
things show up in the damn sky. Sure.
And he's teaching other people how to do it. Allegedly.
Teaching others to do it also. Yep. There was this, years ago, there was this, a homeless gentleman. They called him Jesus. He called himself Jesus. Imagine that. He's a black guy. And not that matters, but he would meditate. And in the middle of the day, in front of this newscaster, he'd said it took like 4 minutes, and the newscaster was going, "Yeah, this guy's, he's all the way out of there." Sure enough, 4 minutes later, these moving stars show up in the middle of the day. That's spooky.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
there's a dude over in Australia. They filmed it so many times it's ridiculous with seeing that and what looks like these silver balls floating up to his window. And doing all kind of craziness.
I'll be moving.
Have you seen those, Steve-O?
I'll be moving.
No, I wouldn't be moving nowhere. They'd be moving before I would.
Yeah. That's when I rebuke them things in the name of Jesus, tell them to get out from around my house.
Yep. In the name of Jesus, I plead his blood against you and plead the blood and shoot. In the name of Jesus, brother. And shoot and reload and shoot and plead the blood. And then when you run out of that, grab that good old tomahawk.
You know, the funny thing to me is Jacques Vallée. I don't know if everybody knows who he is. This kind of dating me here, but him and J. Allen Hynek were big consultants on the project.
Blue Beam,
what was the name? No, Blue Book.
Blue Book.
Project Blue Book.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book about all this stuff. Him and I think J. Allen Hynek did the foreword. And there was a blurb on the book. I can't remember which one of them wrote it. That said, it's a funny thing that we've been looking into this now for a pretty good while, and it seems all these people that are seeing these things are telling the same exact stories, having the exact same experiences as people in times past had, but they called it demon manifestations or the Fae.
Yep, the Fae.
Yep.
Or the jinn. And I think he's right.
There's different levels. I think he's right too. But then see, you have some of these UFOs that morph and change shape, and it's like they're gelatinous or something. But then you have the ones that are made of some sort of a metal that defy the laws of gravity. Or do they? You know, gravity is a theory. Y'all know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the so. In my way of thinking, I think we're on an electromagnetic plane. That electromagnetic. You know what I'm saying? You're a weatherman, so like Zach, explain this to me. How I've always felt like the gravity thing was kind of weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even as a kid, I'm like, what goes up must come down. Not necessarily.
Let's put a magnet over it.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
From a meteorologist, a master meteorologist point of view, what do you think, Zach?
That kind of depends. I mean, it's weird because I mean, also, if you look at like Einstein's general relativity, curvature of space-time, things like that, free fall, geodesics, it's definitely pretty interesting. I don't know. I honestly think that we really haven't even scratched the surface of what gravity is yet, in my opinion. It's definitely some kind of electromagnetic and quantum. Quantum definitely has a big, huge part in it for sure, especially the quantum aspect of magnetism for sure.
Right.
Yeah, they think that there's a quantum particle responsible for gravity. They're saying now they call them gravitons.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, gravitons. And if that's the case, which I believe it is, then that means they can be manipulated.
They actually called that the particle back then in the 80s. They actually called it gravitons as well.
Yep.
Back when Bob Lazar came out with it.
What is the unobtainium? Is that the gravitron?
Element 115, right?
Element 115.
Right. Unobtainium. But they call it something else now.
No, it was named unobtainium. They can call it whatever they want to. That's the actual name for it.
I think it's called Moscovium now. Moscovium, I think it's called.
You're right. Yeah, they've given it another scientific designation. Because like unobtainium is because it's unobtainable. Because I mean, there was an element that they didn't believe it even existed on Earth, that they tried to recreate it and all that stuff. But when they found out it did, and when I told you the story about that guy who worked for the EPA, there's no doubt in my mind those minerals at the bottom of that pond was unobtainium.
Mm-hmm.
They were floating above the ground. He said he'd push them together. They felt like rocks, and then he'd drop them, and then a few seconds later they'd float up.
I've seen that, and I'll tell you something. There's a lot of videos on YouTube and TikTok about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People just filming look like rocks, just gravel sitting there, and they'll go up and hit it, and it's just floating there, moving around.
Yeah, it's some sort of like localized distortions or bubbles around it. It's weird.
But is it a localized distortion, or is that the actual element that's doing that? Like
that's
the way he was talking, it's these rocks, but it's something within the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the element causes it under the right circumstances.
Well, he said when he came back to get his equipment, like they had it sectioned off, like there was some sort of an oil, or not oil spill, but like a chemical spill or something of that nature. Yeah. And he said there was full bird colonels walking around in there, and people in hazmat suits. And he said, "Do I need one of those suits?" They're like, "No, you'll be all right." I would have left that equipment there as soon as I would have just passed by the property. I wouldn't have even turned in there.
Yeah, that's when I told him, "No, you might be all right, but I'm gonna be gone."
And if they would have followed me down the road, I would have started speaking Japanese. Oh, mushi mushi, no English, dido-san. So that's great topics in Moscovium, vibranium, brother. I wish we could find some vibranium. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Those are great.
They might as well have called it unobtainium, because ain't nobody without nuclear reactors obtaining any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
According to them. They say a lot. Belinda Kruger over in, I think she's somewhere over in one of those countries that Hitler took over when he first started marching across Europe, right? She said the other day, no. She's in one of those old school Hell Britannia countries. Let's see if I'm right. I think it's an old school British Empire. I'm not sure. But she's saying she's sure her coworker is possessed with an evil attachment. To be possessed means you have one on the inside, though. An attachment, anybody can have, though. Christians have attachment, unfortunately. Yeah.
But that's serious business.
I'll tell you a little secret about that, Belinda. If every day before you go into work, you pray and ask the Lord to put his angels around you and to keep all those types of things from you and bind anything unclean at your job while you're there. Because as you're there as an employee, you have a right to be there. That means you have a right to affect the environment. Pray down the blood of Jesus on that place and ask the Lord to bind it off of them while you're there.
Merle's seen it. There was two different businesses that had wicked spirits over them, which is crazy, but powerful wicked spirits. And wouldn't it be, didn't I pray one night before I went in there with you?
Yep.
And that's when it's like that shadow moved off of them. Because there was people that lived there, and they just had this like shadow over them. You see it during the day, and it was,
you had to call me that night.
yeah, bro, it was heavy, it was thick, and I've been
Prayed it
going in
out.
there and raising the opposite of hell. You know what I'm saying? Praying with people, praying for people, and this, I think it was a jinn, bro, or one of them 300 million demons.
Yeah.
That, and I was throwing away the thing that they replaced the old Gideon's Bible with.
Yep.
I don't want to say which so-called religious text that was, but yeah. I don't think it liked that too much either.
You know it did.
But guess what? You want to know a secret? I didn't really give a shit what it liked and it didn't like.
Yeah. Dislikes and dislikes concern me not at all.
Yeah, I wasn't going to try to, show up to work and then feel this thing creeping up on me. And it was heavy duty, almost more so than the cigar shop. And the cigar shop had a gin in it, bro. It was doing stuff during the day in front of customers, like pushing people, knocking stuff off shelves. It pushed the girl down the steps, like right in front of me and all the rest of this, like the steps of the storage unit, room where we kept all the back stock. Pushed her. It was only 2, but you could see her like get shoved. And she looked back and looked up at me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll deal with that. And I prayed. I came in early one morning. I was opening when I was manager, and I prayed the Mark chapter number 5, Demon of the Gadarenes. If any of you believers out there want to know what's really happening, open up your Bible and pray Mark chapter number 5 through its entirety. They know what time it is then. And anyways, I came in a little bit early. I prayed Mark chapter number 5, and I wrote it. I prayed it twice, and I wrote it the second time, and I put it on. I don't know why I did this. I've never done it before. But I put it on a piece of paper, and I put it underneath this one of the big modems that controlled all the camera systems and the computer systems and stuff. Because I'm tall, and I was taller than anybody in the store, and I had to reach up on my tippy toes to put it back there, right?
Yeah.
So everything was wonderful for months, and then all of a sudden, like it was like somebody turned the faucet back on. It just came back, and it came back with a vengeance. I have a picture of it. I never want to show it, but I mean, I guess if they want to see it, I can. But it was the night that I felt it. Something touched my back, and these spirits never put hands on me. I was mad about it. If the owner was watching those cameras, I was stomping around in there like Godzilla, cussing, raising hell, and rebuking, and you know what I'm saying. But that night when I went out, it had to go out because I mean I don't play that stuff. Neither does our daddy. He don't play that stuff for real. And I felt, when you feel somebody run up behind you.
Yeah.
I felt like somebody was going to run up and shank me. And it was as I was getting in the car. So I turned around real fast, didn't see anything except this weird type of shimmer underneath this street light that was back behind the building. I took a picture of the side view mirror, and it looked like a man in a white suit. And he was mad about it. That thing had been in there for a while. Like the previous owner said that it was haunted. It used to be an old shop, like a auto body shop. And they said they had problems, stuff moving around and getting thrown. But the owner, lack of a better word, was a demon worshiper. So, but the crazy thing is, when all that started back, it took me about 3 or 4 days to realize it. Like, I went to go look for that piece of paper that I wrote Mark chapter 5 on, completely gone. And again, I'm 6 feet. I had to stand on my tiptoes and reach on the shelf and push it back underneath this thing that was pretty heavy for me to lift. So who moved that paper if I got the only keys in town? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the weird kid has an off-topic question I kind of want to hear y'all answer.
Hey, brother D, brother
Yes, sir.
Hank got a good question for you, and he got one for nephew.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So since I'll put it, I'll get his right after this one. Favorite NFL team. I know we probably all don't watch the NFL anymore. I don't, but back in the day, it was the Dallas Cowboys. It was Oklahoma's best team.
Yeah, baby.
Yep.
What about yours, Merle? I was a college fan, weird kid.
Believe it or not, when I was a kid, there was the NFL, and I think it was called the AFL. I had two teams. It was the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Oilers.
That's really old school, the Houston Oilers. What
Damn,
about
are they
you,
old?
nephew?
NFL team. I used to be a fan of the Steelers, and then I actually switched to the Saints. But I don't follow football much anymore.
Yeah.
I don't either.
That's Caesar Circus. I don't really dig on
Yeah.
Caesar Circus.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Give them their wine and give them their bread and let it rip.
Uh-huh.
Now let's. What was Brother Heck's question? Thank you for that question, though. I mean, break up the
Monotony.
this. Yeah. D, I heard an interview of DW on a channel, and he was saying a story about a friend in Oklahoma who was praying for a girl who had a boyfriend that had an altar to Papa Legba. Yes, that was me. And that was crazy. See, y'all weren't. You gotta understand, like stuff that happens behind the scenes when we're ministering to folks. That'll make all these stories you hear about these dogmen look like a joke at a picnic. It's grape juice on an Easter dress, folks. Like the green-eyed little people. Yeah, the angel bones and all that.
Yeah, it's craziness.
Katie Sill and Squiffy Bear in the house.
You know, angels' bones is the thing that I can't get behind. Because angels don't die. How they gonna have bones?
How do you know angels don't die?
Because the Lord bound the ones that was disobedient and chained to darkness and put them in Tartarus to wait for the end of time.
To wait for judgment. To wait for judgment. But
that's right.
How do we know that they can't die though? You know what I'm saying? That's and I thought the same thing for a while, but the Bible or no other apocryphal text or deuterocanonical text explicitly state that angels can't be killed.
Mm-hmm.
They don't explicitly state that they can either.
Exactly. So I mean, that's why it's what you call suspension of disbelief where it comes with that. Now, do I believe like you do? Yes. I don't believe an angel can be killed unless it's by like another angel because, well, not even then because Michael and his angels fight the dragon and his angels
them out of
and
him.
the dragon availeth not. It didn't say the dragon got his game smoked.
Nope.
But maybe they can. So I mean, that's one of those things. Like if it doesn't explicitly.
Well, we
Hold
know
on, we
that
got an
in the
emergency
last
over here in the
days.
chat. We got an emergency in the chat real fast. 25 likes and we had 60 something people in here. Come on now. Surely I ain't got that many. I got that many haters. I mean, I love y'all. That's kind of hurts my feelings. That's madness. Sorry, Mo. Please continue.
I don't even remember where I was. I'm so gobsmacked by that.
I know, right? Isn't that madness? We almost had
Yeah.
70 people here at one point in time. Maybe they're just so inundated with the fun we're having that they.
That's what it is. They're so entertained and they can't break loose long enough to do it.
Yeah, and I understand that. I apologize. That makes more sense. Football is scripted. To hell yeah, it's scripted. Mainline Mitch, you know how much money people are making on those games?
Everything that you got a line on in Las Vegas is under control.
Yep, always
People
has
don't
been.
like losing money. They've never liked losing money, and they dang sure ain't doing it with random chance.
Yeah, and based on the health of 40-year-old football players at the end of his rope, no.
Yeah.
That's when you go to the
sir.
opposing team and say, "Hey, I see you haven't paid your mortgage off yet. Why don't you just go ahead and throw that guy? You got that old knee injury. Just take a dive. Take a dive."
I thought that was settled back in the day. Wasn't it in the 20s or something when they caught him rigging the World Series? And they said, "It ain't so, Joe."
Say it ain't so. But Joe didn't have nothing to do with that, though. Shoeless Joe Jackson?
I'm sure he didn't.
Or it's not Jackson, but Shoeless Joe.
I'm sure he didn't know
what's his
nothing
name?
about it. That was
He
him.
didn't.
Sure he didn't.
He was an American hero.
Yeah, him and Babe Ruth both. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they wouldn't do. How dare you? They wouldn't do anything as controversial as fixing games.
Hank Aaron is one of the biggest contributors to life itself over in Mobile. You know that.
Well, look at
Stadium named
Troy
after him. The big old loop over there.
Yeah. Look at Troy Aikman, bro. He was hosting like mob level poker games, high stake poker games. You mean to tell me that there wasn't some mobsters that came through there and somebody lost their shirt? And they pulled him to the side and said, "Hey, don't worry about it. This is what you can do to pay us that debt back, and everything will be beautiful."
Yeah.
You just go ahead and spike the ball when you get to have a mysterious injury when you get to the goal line. Yeah,
They
there's
don't
no
even
doubt
do
in my
that.
mind.
That was how it was back in the 20s and 30s. Now they go in there and the coach and the head of the department's telling them what to do.
No, bro.
It's
What?
coming. You know it's coming from the top down. They got all them billionaires on and all these teams. They ain't
Yeah.
chunking out all that money for
Yeah.
nothing.
They hung Pete Rose because they needed a sacrificial lamb. Everybody was doing what Pete Rose did.
Yes.
And I mean, he fell out of favor somewhere along the line. I think they smoked his game though.
He didn't follow the script.
Yeah. He was messing around with the wrong commissioner's wife or coach's wife or some such.
Yeah, I think he was following the script. He just like you said, he got caught doing something he didn't have any business or didn't do something he was supposed to, and they said, "All right, you sure right. Don't worry about it."
Got too big for his britches.
Yeah, they've always got to throw somebody under the bus for the steroids every once in a while and shaving points, and that way there's some kind of implication that they're really watching for that sort of thing, and there's no way that they could be rigging the whole damn thing.
Bro, I was watching, and it ties into this. It was I think DMX maybe. It was like a biography about him, and he was saying how he had some. Yeah, he is very interesting. That God rest him. He was another one of those like us, man. He was after the truth, and he told on their stupid asses, and they got rid of him for it, I believe. But he was saying how he always had some boys that come with him, and they knew right on the onset. He was like, "All right, bro. When things go down, you're gonna face that charge. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna get you out, but you already got 2 felonies. So what's a third?" And they would always have 2 or 3 people in their crew that, if they shot somebody or a bar fight broke out, they'd straight up say, "Hey, I started it. My bad. I was a little bit too drunk." And DMX and the other one just ease on out the side door. I think it was that type of situation with old Pete Rose. I think he pretty much knew what time it was. He probably owed somebody some money. He was like, "Hey, look, I'm at the end of my rope anyways. Let me go on ahead and do this. We clear our debt." And that's what I believe happened. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. I really don't. They took that man out of the museum. They went after everything on him.
Yeah, they did.
No,
take him
sir.
Out of Yeah, you're right.
He made somebody
that was the dishonor.
mad.
Yeah, they dishonored him.
Yeah. And fined him pretty much everything he had ever made.
Yeah, they bust him down to his socks too.
Yeah, and plus taking all his awards.
As far as we know,
bringing him out of the,
you know what I'm saying? As far as we know, he could have had
Brother,
some money put back.
They ain't nobody tolerating that. You understand what I'm saying? It was enough that we talking about real money they took away from that man. I don't care how much he had put back. They ain't nobody tolerating nobody taking that much money from them and not saying, "Hey, you want to talk about me? Let's talk about all of you."
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying.
It was like that old boy Dodd. The one that the Frank Dodd law was one of the ones it was named for.
Dodd.
Yeah, he was a senator that ran this what they called the cowboy ring in Washington D.C.
Yes. GHW Bush.
Yeah,
right?
that was bringing these boy prostitutes into the White House and
Bohemian Grove was tied into it.
Yeah, and then some of them boys got caught in a hotel room with a dead hooker and some cocaine.
That's crazy.
And they tracked this prostitution ring all the way back to a senator's house that the apartment he's sharing with this dude, right? And he gets up there in the middle of the Iran-Contra things and says, "If y'all don't shut this down right now, I'm going to start naming names." And guess what happened? The Franklin cover-up disappeared forever.
Yep. It only resurfaced, in the early 2000s?
More like the early teens.
2010.
Like 2010,
2011. Yep. Damn. So that's how important. When did George H.W. Bush that said if the American people knew what we were doing or what we've done, they'd drag us out in the streets and hang us?
Yep. They said they'd drag us out in the streets and hang us by morning if they know what we had done to this country.
I mean, bro, I didn't like that part into it. I don't know if y'all seen the Crypto Files. There'll be a re-release because of this. I have OCD, and there was a tiny little mistake in there. But I was thinking about incorporating all that stuff, but I'm already kind of, I'm kind of already punching.
You ain't so far along that it can't come in it, but I mean, if you're gonna go, you might as well go.
If I'm gonna hit him, might as well hit him, huh? Because yeah.
This is it for entertainment, allegedly.
For entertainment purposes only, yes. Based on true events.
Allegedly.
I'm telling this. Allegedly, yeah. See, we got to throw in stuff like that. But folks, y'all haven't seen it yet. Again, it'll be re-released, and it'll be the director's cut. I'll call it. No, it ain't nothing gonna be cut. It's just a few audio things that were fixed. But you don't ever hear me brag on the stuff I make. That's one of my better, if not my best work. I mean, it's just awesome. It's crazy. Sitting down and watching the finished thing. It's crazy that I created that from freestyle.
It's some of the coolest satire you'll ever see.
Yes, and it's informative. It's got some really real in it.
That's what makes satire wonderful, is it is informative.
Yeah, some satire.
If it's not informative, it's not truly satire.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, look at those Brits. What were their names? The little British troupe of actors. You like the Bill Clinton Q-Bot? I do too.
Yeah, he was right on time.
Yeah, he was. World Weather Authority. Is it forecast to rain tomorrow? Squiffy Bear ass?
That depends on where you're at.
Well, no shit, Dick Tracy.
That's one of those depends kind of questions.
Squiffy Bear, without going, I guess, in too much detail, he wants to know where you're at so he can do his thing.
In breaking news, water is wet.
Nephew just smoked their game. I mean, y'all noticed that, right? On the real cool, he just kind of smoked their game. I was just saying, I didn't want to point it out, but that was quick. No, it depends on where you're at. Maine. Let's see how good he is, folks. What are you doing, nephew? You got TG? I thought you're cute.
What's that?
She said she's in Maine.
Oh, okay. I mean,
see, you were about to knock it out of the park like the great Bambino, bro.
That was a great setup.
Let me see here.
That's a lot of dead air. What do you got going on, Zach?
Yeah.
Oh no, just look at some of the model forecasts.
Yeah, the way you were talking, I figured you're just gonna bam, 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 spit it out.
I mean, there's a lot of area in the world. He's got to be keyed in on different places.
I ain't making no excuses for him. When you say, "Oh, it depends on where you're at," I was like, "Golly, he's about to just start spitting like he's freestyling." Then you got to look at him. There is a lot of truth in the Clinton satire. You're right. Yeah. Do you want to hear the one? I packaged it one today. That's what I spent most of the day doing. Is shorts.
That's the ones you better be careful with.
I know.
Talking about being careful with things. That's the one.
I know. I'm walking it right. I'm walking it right up the line.
Okay.
Well, the next one kind of stepping over the line a little bit, probably. I'll just talk about.
You seen what happens to people that even hug the line with him?
Yeah, bro, they'll murk a meter maid. You know what I'm saying?
They don't care if you're the cleaning lady or the chef. They'll just take you right on out.
I've seen Hillary Clinton again for the first time in probably a year, and bro, she looks younger again. So there must be on clone number 3 or 4. You see that too, Zach?
Oh yeah, I did. Yep.
Doesn't she look younger?
It's weird. It's real weird.
What did you see? The one with her and old Chelsea and that other woman in the back seat riding down the road singing this song, "You Gonna Hear Me Roar," that was so horrible that I thought I was gonna die.
The one I saw was her at some press conference talking about Trump and him, being brought off, taken off the ballot someplace.
Well, I can tell you right now, you damn sure don't want to see that other one because they sing. It sounds like cats being murdered.
I don't want to hear them sing. They're probably higher than hell on adrenochrome and seeing all sorts of stuff. Demons coming in and out of the car singing with them.
Yeah, it sounded like it. I saw it. I was watching a clip on my boy old Dr. Common Sense's channel, and he was playing it in a loop, and I was torn. On one hand, I wanted to take the remote control and throw it through the TV and vomit, but on the other hand, I was laughing so hard I couldn't hardly stand it because of the way he teed it up. But that was a tough one.
Let me tell you something. If anybody needs to be watching themselves, Dr. Common Sense needs to be watching himself. That dude talks so much shit about Barack Hussein Obama, it's unreal. Like, he hates that man. You can tell, like, he has a genuine hate for him. And I mean, I understand it, but yeah, it's all a hoax. Dr. Common Sense is still around. Would you guys like to hear, and it's not one of the first ones. I guess it would be one of the first ones that I did from that other method, right? I did a couple for the Doctor of Common Sense, but it's
you got to be careful about that though. You go to popping those up, you may hit one you don't want.
Yeah, that one's pretty rough. But I'm gonna look for and play it anyways. You have the Merle.
All right, let's see what we got here. Only portion of Maine to see rain would be near Bar Harbor, he says. Some snow near Ellsworth. Man, that makes me feel like we're on ABC or something. We got a weather breakdown going in here. It's all a hoax. He's back on YouTube, Doctor of Common Sense. I watched him do a live stream tonight. It was awesome. They kicked him off of there right after Trump got in office for a couple years, but he's back.
All right, let's see here and see if I can find it.
Chuck Smith, I hear that's a common problem. In fact, I know it's a common problem because I had a similar one with my first wife. I'll just tell you.
I'm sorry. If you click on their name, Merle. I'm sorry to interrupt. If you click on their name, it'll put up the question so everybody can see it. Because some people don't look at the chat on the playback. You see what I'm saying?
It ain't letting me do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Whose question did you have?
Chuck Smith. He said my last girlfriend had a demon in her. When we went to anoint her, she passed out and felt like a tree and hit the ground. I can tell you right now, that is a common issue. And my suggestion is get as far, if you can't get that thing out of her real quick, you get as far away as you possibly can, as fast as you can, and never, ever look back.
Go find somebody who knows, and if you really haven't never delivered someone or been a co-participant with the Lord in delivering someone from the Spirit.
You better get somebody that knows.
Yeah, it's not just some it's spirit led, spirit with a capital S. So not saying that it can't be intentionally provoked, that's the wrong word, started by a believer, but you just gotta be real careful, and you gotta be prayed up. That's not playtime, especially if you're trying to mess around with anointing oil too.
What you gonna do? Force that thing out into somebody else?
And we're not criticizing, man. Just be real.
I'm just be careful.
That's something
I've
been involved in, since the very beginning of the BDRP, really.
There's a little more goes into it than just anointing somebody with oil and everything. That's playing with fire.
And I'll tell you what, he's the one that needs the Man of Steel Bible study. Men,
yes.
And I've not made this announcement, but there's a group of believers in the Lord Jesus Christ who gather on Thursdays. It's called the Men of Steel Bible Study Group. And it's just men who are under the banner of Christ, learning how to be true men of God. It's for men, so we're dealing with it's heavy duty. It's not playtime, and it's Bible study, for lack of a better word. It's spiritual warfare camp.
Yes. It's also if you are interested, you have to go to strongmenpraying.com and sign up, and you'll be sent a link.
Yeah, and I'll find the link and I'll actually start attaching it to the
Yeah.
videos because it'll do. I'm telling y'all, folks. Men, you're gonna get something from it. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Yes, and sorry, ladies, this is a men's only thing. Just so you know, it's not that we're discriminating. It's that we're trying
It's biblical.
to,
It's
yeah. Not only that, I mean, we're just not set up to counsel ladies. We're counseling men on how to be better husbands and fathers, and sons and brothers, and by doing that, hoping that that gets, like the old trickle down theory of economics, they used to call it. It's going to trickle into everybody's lives if we just concentrate on the men in society. We know how to tell them how to be better husbands and fathers and sons and brothers, but we don't know how to tell ladies how to be a better wife or mother and none of that stuff.
well, don't worry, ladies. I know how to talk to ladies, and I'll make us a group, and I'll be the head of it. And no, I'm just kidding. That's controversy waiting to happen. I don't want no trouble.
Yeah.
I'd have to have like sister, like Squiffy Bear, or Cracking Mommy, my mother in the faith, or somebody like that. You know what I mean? I want to encourage you women who are strong in y'all's faith. If you want to, and that's something. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad I made light of it. I'm telling you, ladies, we need strong women of God who aren't afraid to speak to other women who've been through some things, who want to lead a similar type group. And one of us sitting there with you, you know what I mean? Or if we have to, and get it going on the other side too. And thank you, Mainline Mitch. If you have questions, put them in all caps. We'll take a few more. We're at an hour and 36 minutes. We'll go to an hour and 46. We'll give it 10 more minutes.
Mhm.
Thank y'all too. Y'all have been pretty awesome, keeping an awesome crowd in and great questions and comments. You can see it on pretty. Why'd you ask me that, Mainline Mitch? You put me on the spot. 1 second, because I know I'm going to get it wrong. Let me. Victoria Herring is the host of the show. She's a former field investigator from the Carolinas, but she's rambled around a lot. The Not So Perfect Bigfoot Show, and that's what it is on YouTube as well. The Not So Perfect Bigfoot Show, and it was like having a conversation with it was having a conversation with old friends. The old vice president of operations for the Bigfoot Dogman Research Project popped in, and I mean it was almost like a family reunion.
Big Chunga says, "What do you think reptilians are? Are they a physical race of people or something else?"
Wow,
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is it a physical race of?
I
don't want to say they're
some
devils,
of them.
but yeah, I think it's more of that good old Enochian miscegenation stuff going on. Yeah, they took 200 of every living species and every living thing on planet Earth and miscegenated themselves with them. They cross-pollinated, DNA manipulation. So
there it is. Yep.
Yeah, I mean and I think that they might as well be natural creatures. They've been around since before the flood. So,
Look, I know it's a conspiracy theory and all that and everything, but there's just been too many people talk about the royal family over there being lizard people. Their own daughter-in-law said them are lizard people.
I'm truly believe
come
that.
on. I'm just saying. I mean, I know everybody wants to act like you're a conspiracy theory when you say it. Well, they got naked people jumping out of their house, shimmying down,
shimmying down on bed
sheet.
sheets, and they're saying it's a big gag at Buckingham Palace of all places. Yeah, somebody naked and fetid as Adam. You get the bull butter is what I said. And then you never hear anything. There's no follow up on it where the guy's, oh, what a great gag we pulled. You never hear anything else about him.
Yeah.
Favorite cigarette brand? I think I'm the only one that can answer that. But favorite cigarette brand of all time, or favorite cigarette brand just in general? Merle used to smoke. Merle, what's yours?
Camels. That was it. Camel Lights.
Cool
Camel
100's in the
Wides or
box.
Camel Lights?
Camel Lights, Lights.
Camel
I
Lights.
started
What
off
was
with the old filterless.
Ooh, true cowboy.
yours? What was yours, Steve-O?
Cool 100's in the box. Now I just smoke
Get out of there,
Newport
Luna.
now.
Oh yeah.
Luna's over here and knocked a box of donuts in the floor and over here attacking it. Sorry, folks. It's left up. I know Zach. I ain't even gonna ask Zach. Zach, you've never smoked before, have you?
No, I haven't actually.
Good job. Don't do it.
Don't do it ever.
Mm.
Well, I smoke Dawson Originals. That's right, folks. And you're in bed. No, I'm just kidding. I started off smoking a pipe. I was getting my daddy's pipe tobacco. Well, I asked, like any kid, I asked to hit it one time, and he did. And it felt like fire went down my lungs. But I liked the taste of it. It was wonderful. And I was like, it burned kinda, but so I had my grandfather's pipe for the longest, and then I started dipping Copenhagen chewing tobacco, long cut. That fine stuff too, it gets all over the place in your teeth. And then it was Marlboro Reds. And now it's cheaper versions of Marlboro Reds, like the 24/7s or Montegos or something like that. I successfully quit smoking though for right over a year. I was vaping. It was in one of those situations where, I need an old stogie.
I've been quit for
An old
15
Fred
years. All I do is vape.
15 years? That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Old Fred Flintstone said, have a Dawson Original. Did you know that tobacco is an enemy of COVID? What? What are you talking
heard
about?
that. Yeah.
Oh, that's
they
some of
said
that
the
old...
people that smoke and vape and stuff, it didn't hurt them as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because our lungs are stretched out, and yeah, don't they know that they're health aware? Folks, I'm sorry. That brings us to our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. Dawson cigarettes.
Well, I sure would like a cigarette.
Well, why don't you bust out a Dawson?
A Dawson, that's right. Your favorite.
Dawson cigarettes. That's right, Dawson cigarettes. Nothing beats a Dawson except a possum.
I wish you would stop smoking the damn cigarettes.
Hey, your wife said stop smoking. Didn't you know these are health aware? The doctor prescribed me these. See, this is what happens when you let women poke and go to work and wear pants. They start going cuckoo-cuckoo.
That's right, Bon. You tell her. That's right, honey, you heard him. Hey, what's this?
That's right, folks. Dawson. You know what? When I was making those, I freestyled it all. Like that was the most usable one I did.
Those videos you make, they're fantastic, by the way.
I appreciate
Yes,
that.
they
man.
are. They
I appreciate
are
it. I
freaking
appreciate it.
awesome.
But like the rest of them were a little bit. I figured they'd be a little bit too much, too controversial. Because everybody was on that true misogyny stuff back then. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there was like, oh, you're a woman, so you can't say anything on this commercial. I wish you quit smoking them damn cigarettes. Bro.
You remember what's that dude's name? Edward Bernays. That was Sigmund Freud's nephew that came over here and got them girls with short haircuts and put them out there with them Virginia Slim cigarettes and doubled the smoking.
On them,
double the amount of cigarettes that could be sold within just like a few months. Yeah. Got all them girls smoking and get lung cancer.
Yeah, well, I mean, nah, don't say that.
Well, I mean, it was a commercial. It was one of the first ones.
That's pretty. That's a pretty good question right there. And you're absolutely right. Yeah, that dude, he was a savage propagandist.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm writing a paper about the public opinion and knowledge of the Tuskegee experiment. Could I ask you guys some questions? No. Because that's a setup. That's a setup if I ever heard it before. That's a good setup, but it's a setup. I appreciate the effort.
You know another thing that dude's responsible for?
What?
Men buying them big diamond rings for women.
Yeah, he was the advertiser for, was it Zales or something like that?
De Beers diamonds.
De Beers.
Yeah.
The British Broadcasting Channel, just some guy. We don't get that. I don't get that on. I don't really watch TV.
No.
And if that's genuine, fart guy, all right, fart inhaler, slam poetry, which is an awesome name. If you're being genuine, email me. I'll chop it. I'll chop it up with you on the phone about it because I've got some strong opinions on it. So.
Yeah, me too.
But anyways, I think that's a good stopping place. Did we hit everything?
Oh no, we gotta have something better than that to end on. Come on now.
Well, I mean, I don't have the second Dawson. Folks, there's this one that I made for Dawson Medicinals, and I think you'd dig that one. There's old Fred Flintstone saying, "Hey, Barn, I'm kind of drunk. I told a woman I'd stop drinking since I started going to those AA meetings." And he's like, "Here, have a medicinal." But bro, you just have to hear it. It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, if you said you're a public writer, from one writer to another, it sounds like you. I mean, if you got topics like that, you're doing a phenomenal job. Yeah, I could see how you think. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's a killer troll setup, bro. I just figured like some super duper racist stuff was coming through. I'm new here, y'all, but all this is right up my alley. The Great White Hope. We got old Donald Trump in the chat with us. That's the Great White Hope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, welcome, Great White Hope.
You are his campaign manager, after all.
I am. And he told me to kind of ease back. I've been raising a little bit too much hell. No, we're not being invaded at all. These cats they're all right.
We've already been invaded. Don't forget that mainline Mitch. A long time ago.
Mainline Mitch. And you seen what happened? Seen what happened? The follow up to Pearl Harbor. Yeah, we do got to finish on something like one more question. Let's get one more good one. You're asleep at the wheel on this one, Steve-O. What's wrong?
No, I'm just hanging back.
I think it's picking you up.
Just hanging back, enjoying the conversation.
Do what?
I'm just hanging back, enjoying the conversation. The camaraderie.
Yeah, it does feel like it's a phone call, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Open it, could be from some meds. Also, look up the side effects on the medicine. What are they talking about? Hey, you can't be giving doctors practicing medicine without a license is illegal.
Yeah, you remember what happened to Oral Roberts? They beat him to death in Germany for that.
Yep. Well, he was giving out medicine though.
As far as I know, the man was praying for people.
He was praying for. Well, I mean, I thought he was giving out medicine.
No, it was Oral Roberts, and they said because he said he could heal people that he was practicing medicine without a license.
He was over there healing people, though, bro. He was actually healing people in the name of the Lord.
Yeah, they put chains on him and whooped him. His face was all bruised up. He made a public statement about it. He was mad about it.
They beat the fire out of him. You're right.
Yeah. They didn't take too kindly to people.
Somebody asked this question and we missed it. Thank you, Chuck Smith, for pointing it out. I'm sorry. Who was it?
I believe it was Logan. I believe. So, do you believe in fate, or do we just get lucky?
Fate. There's no such thing as luck, happenstance, or chance is my answer.
Brother Heck also asked a question. Says, have you reached out to any of those guests you wanted to interview, and has anyone responded?
I've actually began writing the what would you call it? Like a letter, where I'll personalize it for them. But it's a actual structure, the professional proposal to come on the show. But I've not filled them out.
An invitation of sorts.
Yeah, of sorts. One would say.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
that's a question.
That's the question. Question: have you ever had a Dogman drop a dookie in your mouth?
Oh my god!
Now that is a troll. I'm gonna go ahead and kick you out and ban you, but I'm gonna answer your question just because it caught me 1 foot off the merry-go-round. No.
Damn.
And nor has anyone else in the history of man, I would say.
That's a negative.
Give him another chance. He was just breaking up.
Give him another chance? No, I can't help it. I mean, once he's kicked out of here, he's kicked out of the band. I got to go to the YouTube side. And I'm not going to remember to do that after the show. You don't come on here asking stupid shit. Like I mean, there's something at the very beginning when they come in here and say, "Hey, you know what I mean?" Like he knew he was going to get his game smoked. Whoever that was, I'm sorry. I think they are too.
That was quick too.
That's turning into bedlam. Squiffy Bear's in there smoking game now. She said, "I think you're confusing with the hip too." Oh, whoa. All right, let's see. Steve Wolf said, "Sorry, I stepped away for and missed whatever happened." Nothing at all. They were just, and she doubled down. The 1-2 punch. She hit him with that Mike Tyson. What was that? Overhand right and right hook, right uppercut. Same hand.
Oh.
Oh, my girl.
Now she's saying, "Hey, you need to get off there. That's enough." Calm down. Hush.
Oh, goodness.
She's going to that window.
It's weird. Is it weird that that question had me sucked in there to just like the last couple words and it finally registered what he was doing? I was looking so hard for a question in the comments.
I was about to start reading it out loud. I think it's awful funny. Like, we've had a great show. And I mean, Mainline Mitch. Boy, we got some comedians that are just like, he came in here asking about his favorite kink. Oh. All right, but yeah, I mean, he was a kamikaze troll. But, you know, they didn't hit the hole, so I'm not really worried about it. That did catch me one for North America. What were we talking about? Somebody asked a legitimate question. I missed it, Chuck. Calm down. Yeah, because I'm about to have to let her outside. She's the most protective dog I've ever had. And I've had all types of sizes. But, like, she's on it. And she'll be mad about it until I let her outside to go, do her thing.
Who let the dogs out?
Then she'll march around like an SS Waffen or one of the with some SS a stormtrooper, ears and tail straight up, goose stepping, and walk around the whole perimeter.
Yep.
Logan said he's just being honest. I wish that everyone suffering gets to heal and equal chances on this rock, but I'm an optimist. I used to be an optimist too, but then I turned 30 and the world kept turning and I started seeing people and experiencing them in places I work and where I went in public. And I was like,
it just became a darker and darker place by the day.
Yeah, you know what I mean? What did they say? What did Two-Face say on The Dark Knight? You either die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's one of those types of situations. What color is my Bugatti? I don't know, Andrew. I ain't got one yet, but and we got the top G in here. What? Let's see. No better place to ask for healing. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. We got some prayerful people in here, and it's awesome.
You're not being a bummer. I'm glad you brought it up. We'll be remembered in our prayers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you need to come to that Man of Steel Bible study as well. Personal question. I actually read it sort of before I start to read. What's your opinion in the correlation between peaceful parenting and the decreased likelihood of activated fight and flight genes?
Got an opinion on that one too.
Go ahead, hit it.
Well, I'll tell you right now that no what they call it, zero tolerance policy in school has it's just decimated about 2 generations of kids now since it's been in there about the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
If kids don't get punched in the mouth a couple times, made fun of a couple times, get to punch back on a bully a couple times, and just get stoned once or twice, they're going to be weak sauce.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Just saying, and they lose their fight or flight, and that's when they get real comfortable running that flipper lip online with them keyboards.
Keyboard warriors, yep.
Yeah, and then before you know it, they get a little too comfortable, and they do it in person, and somebody reminds them real quickly that there's consequences for running that flipper lip sometime, and then they want to go cry and call the police and act like somebody tried to murder them or something. When they were just
Yeah, I
giving
mean,
them some act right.
they've never been in a lot of these guys have never been in a physical altercation or a sport before, so taking a good old fashioned ass whooping probably feels like they're being murdered.
Yeah.
I mean,
Then
the
they
most
want to
physical
go get a
activity they
gun.
have, yeah, they go get a gun and they get all in
Yeah.
their pride and their feelings because they, you know, a lot of them are, unfortunately, were raised in one parent homes, more than likely the mother, so they take on the attributes of the feminine. You know, mother's beautiful. One of my heroes is my mother, and like they take on these traits, and a woman is hardwired to have more emotions because they take care of the child. It's placed there by God. And we were created to be more logical and rational, but not so much no more. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that the fight or flight thing.
Yeah.
I got a good old fashioned country ass whooping, and I think that would do. Does that make us braver? Probably.
But it also lets you know your limitations. When somebody, you know, stomps you for running your mouth too much one time, you become more cautious about it. And you know how to spot that look in their eye when they mean to do just such a thing, and you know when to run.
Yep.
Yep.
Know when to hold them and know when to
I'm
fold
not
them.
gonna lie about it. I've beat some men unmercifully, but I've also run like a scalded dog, and I'll do it again. Under the right circumstances.
I
You know
don't
what I'm
believe. I don't
saying?
believe that last part. If you're talking about running like avoiding confrontation, I've done that.
Yeah.
Sort of. Sometimes, but it's usually the opposite. I don't know what peaceful parenting is. Is that like not?
But I'm
My
just
parents
gonna
were
make.
peaceful.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. There's some people you just don't mess with.
That's right. Yep.
You know, it's all good to be brave and everything. And if I have to, I'll wait till they go to sleep and shoot them with a 12 gauge. I got no problem with that. But some of my boys, I just ain't itching to tangle with, and I ain't gonna lie about it.
Well, I'll let them beat
They
me to
don't-
death for no.
I've been there. I'm not talking about the ones that'll beat you down real good. You know the ones I'm talking about. There's something wrong
Yeah,
with
I
their
know.
eyes.
Yeah, I know. I know the one you're talking about. They make me nervous. Yeah,
Yeah.
something's going on with them. But that's the thing about it, man. Like, you got sons that are raised by parents like us. I know you don't have any kids yet, Zach. Do you? You don't have kids
No,
yet.
I don't. No.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, my friend. But you got sons that were raised by parents like us, who were raised by Christian parents. Who, I'll tell you straight up, if I talk back, or if I was in parents were talking, adults were talking, I came put myself in the midst of it, I'm getting a backhand to the mouth. I'm not getting, you know, not twisting my head around, but yeah, like grown folks are talking, boy, go on about your business. And then I'd feel like I feel bad and go somewhere far away from them, start dog cussing. But it really trained me. Hey, maybe I should keep my mouth shut if it don't involve me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's those lessons, and it's really I'd say it, but it's the truth, and it's scientific. Like it correlates pain with misbehavior or bad behavior. So when you're missing that, your fight or flight's gonna be messed up anyways.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I learned at a young age to keep my opinions to myself unless somebody asked me.
Yep.
Because in my house, that didn't go. I mean, them people believe that kids were to be seen and not heard. And if you come up volunteering your opinion while two grown men was talking, you just get the back of the hand scooted across the floor, and they'd say, you might need to get your mom to check you out. You might have a fever there, son.
Yeah. See, I wasn't crazy enough to do that with my dad. You know, I do it with my mom. My mom was at the interesting conversations, you know what I mean, about politics and things of that nature. And Dad didn't mind if I talked while he was, because he was usually talking about cars or guns or a combination
My
of the
dad
both.
was that way too, unless he was talking with another grown man. And then I got a little too comfortable with it one time when I was about 8 or 9. And come be
that comfort
bopping up,
thing.
and you get too familiar sometimes, and you have to get taught a lesson.
Now that you mention it, yeah, I did get one backhand from. Well, I didn't get back. He kind of looked at me, gave me this look. I was like, "Oh shit!" And you know what I mean? I was like, I don't even know what they're talking about, but I was over there, probably 11 years old, just like I was one of the boys. You know what I mean? And I was laughing along, and then I interjected something. I don't even remember what the conversation was, but I remember he shot me some. Everybody was laughing and carrying on, but he shot me some crazy look, and he looked into my soul. It was like Mortal
You can't
Kombat.
be
or
busting on old dad.
I think that's what I did too. I made a fun.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, okay, funny man." But you know what, man? Like I look at it as we were well blessed. We grew up in Christian homes, um, two parents, and uh, under the banner of Christ in the Bible. You know what I mean? Like people say that I talked to a gentleman who was in the Bible study group, and he said he didn't understand how I know so much about the Bible is because that was one of the first books I learned how to read. You know,
Yeah.
and just like look what Dark Frog said. My dad stuck a knife in me. You know how heartbreaking that is. Like I couldn't imagine. And some of these, and especially the mother's thing, because the maternal love is supposed to be completely different and deeper. And you have a lot of these ladies who, unfortunately, get lost in the sauce on something or behind a situation, and they're not there. And big up to all single dads out there, like my boy Steve-O. It's I've been there, and it's a rough one. It's a rough customer. But you know, y'all don't get enough credit.
I know I couldn't make it without my wife. I've been a lucky man. The Lord, I think He let me have a bad one, so I know how to appreciate a good one when she came along. I've been with her for the last 20 years. We got 3 wonderful sons, and I just couldn't make it without her.
That's beautiful. Well, I guess he's preparing me for eternity or something, because he's making sure that I appreciate the next one to come. The 3 strikes you're out rule don't apply. Anyways, I guess that's it, folks. A lot of great questions. Big crowd tonight. We kept a solid 60 people. I like having these roundtable discussions, especially when we can just shoot through the Dogman horse shit and get into what really matters, which is anything but that. But I would strongly suggest looking up the correlation between peaceful parenting, fight or flight gene activation, and Q potential. Actually, I will check it out because you got me interested.
Yeah, me
I was
too.
raised in Southern Oklahoma, and the peaceful parenting was me not doing anything to get an ass whooping.
Yeah, it was real
That's what
peaceful as long as you kept it that way.
Yeah, and there'd be certain things you know that you're supposed to do, and things that you're not supposed to do that would bring about these ass whooping, so to say.
Yeah, with a quickness. You know, when I was little, my mom, if she ever whipped me, she had to whip me 3 times. It was a terrible thing. I'd go to explaining to her how she was wrong to whip me. And she would say, you know, if you make me have to come back here, I'm going to spank you again, son. And I'll just say, well, come on in here. I got to tell you something.
Amy Slusher. Amy Slusher needs a Nobel Peace Prize. You see what she said?
Yeah.
This world needs parents who don't allow the idiot box to raise the child.
Amen.
Amen,
Amen.
and amen. Like I've seen, and I don't even want to say who, because you know I've seen so many parents put their tablet in their kids' hands and just burn off. No kind of parental controls, but I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to me.
Now, that's a hard one to beat right there, because you know my ex-wife, she did that with my son, and you know I wasn't Apple friendly back then, and he's watching all this garbage, and I'm looking like, oh my god, what? So I had to learn how to knock this filter on, delete that, block this, and he'll pick it back up again. The boy's smart, and I'm deleting and blocking until I just say, you know what? YouTube kids gone.
Yeah,
I delete all this stuff.
Delete and block their brain, bro. Like one of my great nephews, all my nephews and nieces are close to my age because I came so far after my closest sister to me. Like, so they're, you know, in their 11, 12, 13 year old, and some are way younger than that. But one of my great nephews was listening to South Park one day, and I didn't know what it was, but it was on YouTube, and it was South Park, but the voices were sped up, and they sounded like adults. I don't know, they did something to the voices. And it was like, well, shit, this and F that. And I was like, whoa, what are you watching, boy? Yeah. And he was like, oh, I'm just watching South Park. And I was like, no, you're not. And I took the tablet from him and I turned it to something. And it was something that was on his front page. You know how you go to your front page on YouTube?
Yeah.
And whatever that was, I went to walk off and it was F this, F that.
Yep. Caught the same thing the other day.
I just had to do a hard reset on his tablet. Now he got Sesame, now he got PBS Kids and Noggin on it, and that's it. No more of that YouTube stuff, because it's some crazy demonic cartoons on there.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch these cartoons, man, it's more than just demonic. They're putting in the real deal. They're putting in like esoteric symbolism, occult symbolism.
It's
almost like a
small
ritual.
kids think it's funny. These big kids do
Yeah.
too, and they getting brainwashed to think that this is normal. No, it's not
Yes,
normal.
they're getting inundated with it. And like Zach said, like it's, you're right, man. It's
right.
a nefarious thing. They're hypnotizing these kids and accepting that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you something else. You better be careful with that PBS kids. When my youngest one was coming up, that was all we let them watch. Was that, and there was a couple things on Disney Kids that we let them watch. And my youngest come up to me. Let's just say he was asking questions that he shouldn't have known to ask.
Oh, I know what
about people's sexual orientation and things of that nature.
What?
Yeah, they got it on Sesame Street now. It's on PBS Kids. It's deep on Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
Nickelodeon's. And bro, looking back on Nickelodeon when we were kids, I think I'm in between all of y'all's ages. That shit was prevalent then.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
My kid was asking me a question about if he rode the school bus, would that make him gay? And I said,
are you
son,
shitting me?
No, I'm not. And I was like, son, no. They ain't nobody your age gay. That's a construct that's being forced down people's throats. And kids are being inundated with.
It's terrible.
You won't even know what you are until you're, a lot older than you are now.
Yeah, they don't even have the hormones aren't set in motion yet for them to like. That's the sick part about it, and they try to justify it. In the halls of Congress, they'll go in and try to justify it. But there's nothing that a 6-7-year-old kid needs to know about anything sexual. Well, I mean, why? Because they're grooming them. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. This is BDRP Supernatural. No sugar, no cream. They're grooming these kids because one day we're going to die, and those kids are going to be adults. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, you put the tablet in front of them, you put the phone in front of them, you walk off and do whatever you do. Yep.
Well, that's who they expect to put us in the nursing homes and help finish us off.
Mm-hmm.
Damos Mars just called it. Bell wants more servants.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Mary, I got one for you. My son went to pre-K this year, right?
Yeah.
Before he could go to pre-K, he had to answer a set of questions. Are you a little boy or are you a little girl?
That's terrible.
And if he would say he was a little girl, he couldn't go to school in this county.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
hey.
I mean, that's
I ain't mad at that.
Way to handle it. That's a way to handle it. But you know what? I wouldn't do nothing to that kid. I would go talk to the parents. That's child abuse.
Yeah.
That's child abuse, in my opinion. They're sending these kids under the knife at 10 years old. Last report I read. Yeah, giving them hormone blockers.
That's
crazy. At 10 years old. You know how much damage permanent damage you're doing to
Well, they're maiming that child. They're maiming them and castrating.
And it carries a higher penalty than first-degree murder.
Yes.
Because you're intentionally maiming someone, knowing that they're going to live reduced. What do you call it?
You can't tell me
sense of whatever.
It's almost like Nazi Germany,
Almost ass. That's exactly what Nazi Germany.
Yeah. Look, it's like this right here. Anybody knows that you can't do that kind of stuff to a child, and I don't understand why for the life of me, except for I kind of do, why the first ones that did that to a child, that put them on those hormone blockers and tried to castrate some little boy or cut some little girl's ovaries out where they could never reproduce, why they weren't immediately arrested by the sheriff of the county.
Exactly.
And the prosecutor there charged them with maiming a child. That carries a stronger penalty than murder. They should be in prison for the rest of their life and never be allowed around a child again.
Maybe. I mean, stronger.
You know what I'm saying. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what they should be doing. They should be
riding the lightning, old Sparky.
End of a short rope's where they need to be.
There it is.
Let's just tell it like it is.
Yep, right in front of the courthouse like they used to do back in the day when
publicly
people with these. The Bible even says public execution's a deterrent to crime.
Yes. And every parent that allowed it should be right up there on that gallows with them.
The surgeon, from the surgeon to the parent, maybe, give him 20 years, put that kid in a house where somebody don't want to mutilate him and fill their mind with a bunch of madness from what's in vogue in society. Like,
Look here. If a grown person wants to do that sort of thing to theirself, that's between them and God. It ain't none of my business. But you
amen.
can't be doing that to little kids that don't know what they want yet.
Agreed.
I heard a comedian talk about this, and it was one of the best things I heard. I wanted to be the Bionic Man when I was a little kid. It's a damn good thing somebody didn't let them cut my arms and legs off and put some kind of, prosthetic on me.
Mm-hmm.
What about a kid who wants to be a pirate? What you gonna do? Gouge out his eyes and give him a peg leg next?
Don't tempt him.
Gel Dale says, hello, savage alpha males. I'm actually a Sigma male, honestly. But anyways, should I give my 2-year-old solids or should they stay on liquids? That's something you should ask a pediatrician. I'm not answering that. What are you trying to smoke my game? What are y'all's opinions about
I'm not gonna tell you
on the
what you should
president in
do.
the White House? Zanny make me happy. Oh, that's great. Anyways, what's my opinion on the president in the White House? He's doing a bang up job, and he's one of the greatest we've ever had in this country. Next person.
Oh yeah.
Hoorah!
Oh yeah. As long as they keep giving him them diapers and that methamphetamine, he'll be doing great.
That's right wing propaganda.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
As a matter of fact, I heard that. Give me a second. You have the comm. I heard Joe Biden put out a statement, and he wanted me to put it out for him for whatever reason, and
Okay.
he addresses just that. So if you want to take the comm for a minute.
I agree with you, Squiffy Bear. If civilization is going to survive, this has to come to a stop.
Agreed.
People have to stop putting up with it. In Europe, they've tried to roll this out almost a decade earlier than they did here, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not allowing that mess over there no more. I can tell you that right now. They understand fully over there, where they tried to roll it out first, that this is a recipe for disaster. And they've passed all kind of laws rolling all that back. And the same thing's going to happen here.
Something came through that turn portal.
Yeah. It's a recipe for disaster. If you're going to open up your borders and just say, y'all just go on and empty all your mental hospitals and prisons out here at the border and we'll take them. And start doing all this to kids, before long, things are going to get so bad that people have to turn the other way. We don't have to say anything to them anymore. A few years ago, I tried to tell people in my family that this was craziness, that we can't be doing this. But you know what? I'm starting to think maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing because I tried to tell people about some of these early politicians and stuff they was doing, like the Clintons back then, way back in the day. And they'd look right in your face and say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. That didn't happen. And I'd say, well, if I were to be able to take and give you articles out of mainline publications saying that it did happen, what would you be prepared to do about it? And they would laugh and they'd say, well, show me. Well, I went to the library and I run off a bunch of copies of some of it. And I showed it to a family member. You know what they said? Oh, you could download that anywhere. I said, no, do you see this right here? These are links where you can go to their website and look it up. It's still there. They wouldn't even look at it. Wouldn't even look at it. Acted like I was just hallucinating or something, I guess. These people would never have come to understand how bad some of these people would never have come to understand how bad things, really are, where it's headed, until they seen it for their own self. So now they're getting to see it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's waking a lot of people up. People saying,
And
you're going to bring...
a lot of people are still asleep.
They got blinders on for sure.
But there's more awake now than there's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
I've been telling people about this for over 20 years, and I'm telling you, I ain't never seen as many people that gets it, that knows what's going on. You can look at them in the store, something somebody will be talking some of that madness behind the counter, and you just look over at them, and they look at you, and you just nod at each other like, man, this person's crazy. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to say nothing. You know, and they know that person's crazy because, you know, they're crazy. But there's so many of them, and you just didn't used to get that now. They're going to let all these homeless people take over the cities, you know, and all this stuff. When you go to closing down mental hospitals and turning people out, and then letting other people turn out their mental patients onto your border and in prisons, society's fixing to get bad, folks. It's going to get bumpy. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You better buckle up because it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, it is. And that's why we got to build those big, beautiful insane asylums, folks. They're going to open these insane asylums that have been closed for some of them hundreds of years. They're going to be renovated and opened again. And I couldn't find the clip that Biden sent in, but as I was looking for it, old Slick Willie called and he was like, "Did you play that last one?" And I was like, "No, I ain't got time for that." He was like, "Well, maybe you should tell him because this needs to be blown wide open." So we got a clip from Bill Clinton, and he's going to give y'all some inside baseball. Hey, what happened?
You're exactly right, Squiffy.
I don't mean apparently Google might be tracking me in my searches for baby products. Who knows, besides the Salvage Alpha Beast streamers. I suggest, you know what? You seem very, very concerned, Jail Dell. My suggestion for your baby is, and this may be controversial, so just hear me out. You call a pediatrician and schedule an appointment. That's my honest opinion. Re-education camp. With the brutal honesty coming with the brutal honesty. That's what they're going to call them, re-education camps. We don't got our minds right. They're going to give us that good old cool hand Luke treatment. I'll be damned if you leave that dirt in the boss's yard. What's that hole doing in the boss's yard, boy? I don't know, boss. That's the business they're going to give us, and we're going to be too tired to swing that shovel at them. And that's when you're going to acquiesce to whatever they say. That's when folks are going to start denying the Lord. That's when they're going to start throwing their own personal Bible that's been passed down for generations into the fire, just like everybody else. That's when that's going to happen. I mean, you make somebody bust rocks from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday through Saturday, and then they're getting gruel for dinner. Yeah, that's when you start seeing where somebody's faith really is. When that's 2 months, 2 years. Yeah, that is what Hillary called them. You're absolutely right. And I mean, look at that woman. Well, Bill's going to tell you all about it. You're going to see why there's so much controversy around that woman, because she's been dead for ages, I think. That cloning program's real. It's been proven to be real. And here we go.
You know, I mentioned before in the last interview how there was a couple clones of Heather. I remember the first time she really died, as he was going to one of these witchcraft rituals she liked to go to in Los Angeles. I was just governor of Arkansas at the time. And she, you know, she didn't bathe. She never took no bath, and she let hair grow on her arm. And I just got home from somewhere. I don't remember why it was. I was doing so much coke back then. But I came in. I got a good whiff of her, and I was like, "Hillary, shit fired." I mean, they're soaked in the bathtub. Why don't you go in there and shake hands with it? And she looked back at me, and her eyes about to start doing that. They hadn't fully started blinking red and light yet, but they rolled back in her head. And she's like, "Don't you talk to me that way, William. I'll put a spell on you so bad it'll make your eyes spin like mine." I was like, "Hillary," and see, I was a little bit bolder back then because she didn't reach her full Emperor Palpatine powers yet. Say, "Hillary, you ain't gonna do nothing but sit there and stink and be ugly." And that's when her feet didn't move. She was in the bathroom in our bedroom. She's about 12 feet away. She floated on her tiptoes, feet not moving now, floated on her tiptoes over and grabbed me by the throat, picked me up off the ground. I was like, "Oh, shit." Like, "Harry, I'm just playing with you. You know that." Then she dropped me, kind of snapped out of it. And she asked what we were talking about, and I was like, "Oh, we're talking about you taking a bath. You just going in there to take a bath." And she said, "I was?" She said, "Oh, yeah, sure you are, baby. Go ahead and go in there and get that soap on you and get under that water. You went to Los Angeles to your friend's house, remember?" And she said, "Oh, yeah," and she looked confused. And she walked in there, and she grabbed the soap, and I was looking through the bathroom door, peeking at her. She looked at that soap and then started looking around the bathroom like she'd never seen it before. Then she just kind of slipped on, I guess, water or something. She slipped and broke her neck on the sink. Now, I sat down and smoked a cigar, and when that cigar was done, I was just looking at her while the whole time. When that cigar was done, I figured she was gone, and I called the ambulance. But about 5 minutes later, some guys showed up. They were me and nigger, and all in black, and they had white skin, like bright white, NASA white, like envelope paper white, and they said, William, you'll have to get on out the way, and we'll take her, and we'll make it better for it. I was like, no, don't do that. Just bring a hearse out of here. That's all you need. And they kind of moved me out of the way. They were starving. They looked too, and they all looked exactly alike. I think they were triplets. What?
So there you have it from the
last
Lord's
interview,
about.
There was a couple clones of Heather. I remember the first time she really died.
Damn, let's go.
You know, the campaign
Yeah, what's this
manager for Mr. Donald Trump and myself, and of course, folks, don't forget we're running on the Open 'em Up party ticket. That means open them up. Open up those insane asylums, I said. You better open them up for a while. Anyways, folks, as Mr. Donald Trump and I go down that campaign trail, we're on the road to November, folks, and we count on your vote. And as we're on that road, our campaign manager, Mr. B. Doss, the man himself, is being plagued by exactly what we're talking about, crazy people. You have this fellow named Smuff Muffington. Smuff Muffington is a propagandist on the level of that guy who worked with the Nazis, whatever his name was, a propagandist. And he's also, I'd like to tell you a little tale out of school, folks, he's also the Bat Mom's fiance and the Baron's ex-roommate. Isn't that something? You know, he's been plagued by these people, and I tell him when he comes to me and looks for wise counsel, I tell him, Doss, all you have to do is put all your weight behind this new ticket. Once we get those big, beautiful, insane asylums built, people like your ex-girlfriend, the Bat Mom, and her current fiance, Muffington, they will be the first inmates. First, they'll bring them through the electroshock theater. Then they'll strap them down. First, they'll strap them down in their ice-cold bath. And when they get done with that, guess where they're going next is the electro theater. They'll put electrodes on their heads and we'll do our best to shock them back to normalcy. Not that I'm normal to begin with, but we'll do our best using the power of electricity to bring them back to a acceptable in public state of mind, you see. And then, if all else fails, there's the old-fashioned lobotomy. A last resort, folks, sure, but a last resort must it come to sometimes. But, folks, it must come to a last resort sometimes to deal with these crazy people. Mr. Doss has been plagued for 3 years now, 3 years, by a girlfriend who stole his business, stole all his personal belongings, including his telephone, generated false and felonious text messages, and many other illegal things. Oh, and also sent a letter to his parole office that was full of lies. And nothing seems to curtail her yet. Mr. Doss, being somewhat troubled by this, came to me seeking advice. And the only advice I can give him is the same advice I'll give any one of you who deal with crazy people. And that's this campaign slogan, yabba dabba doo. Open them up. Open up the insane asylums, I said. You better open them up or I'll...
Strong word from the vice presidential candidate. I mean, he's old Fred. And I know he was taken on by Mr. Trump because Fred Flintstone from Flintstones cartoons can run this country phenomenally better than anybody in the Democratic Party. But anyways, that's you hear that? Like, I was freestyling and I mess up. Like, I'm gonna put all those together because some of them are pretty funny, especially like when you get into that the cryptid hunter stuff and it's the girls' voices. Because I'm listening to it and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I got my voice too deep for that, and I don't know how to. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I know I'm trying to talk seriously about it, but I know Trump is one of them. Him and his huge wife, and that whole family. Probably so. Who knows? One of what?
One of them billionaires.
Rumor had it that she swung on that freak Podesta. Yeah, I heard that too. Somebody needs to swing a battle axe.
Did you hear that recording? The one where she was talking to O'Donna Brazil and said, "Quit looking at me like a dead buffalo."
I still haven't heard that.
Get out there and you fix this. She told her.
Everybody and their mama were announcing her to be the winner. You know, like
Yeah.
I wonder, did anybody actually move out of the country? There's a lot of people. Let's move out of the country.
Clooney did. He moved out of the country for about a month, and then they killed some people outside his castle over there, and he decided it was time to come back to America.
He came straight the hell back to the greatest country on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I like how they all pretend, just whoever's in office, that this still isn't the greatest country on the planet. It is. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter whether it's Democrat, Independent, Republican, or one-eyed, one-horned, pink and purple people eater sitting in that seat. This is still going to be the greatest country this side of heaven. In my humble opinion.
We don't have a lot to say on child care either. If you want to learn about child care, I suggest you go look up this book. It's written by a man called Dr. Spock. Tells you all about child care, and then take them to a pediatrician, like my brother told you, because we don't give out child care advice here.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's kind of silly and irresponsible for anybody on a podcast involving the supernatural and cryptids to do. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
That's for entertainment purposes only.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, you stumbled.
I feel bad because Gerald, I don't know. Like maybe BDRP stands for like Babies Development and Research something. You know what I mean? Like somewhere. Man, they were like, "Oh, I can't wait! Finally, the answers that I need."
Yeah, Babies Development Research and Potty Training Roundtable. That's what it is.
Yeah. And I can tell you the truth about it. I grew up in a fully functional child care facility. Like my mom owned first a home daycare, and then she bought an old monastery building and turned it into a daycare. And I'm still not going to give you. I'm not giving you nothing. I'm not telling you nothing. That's why those men went to school. Men and women went to school for 8 years, so they could give you professional advice. My cousin told me this is no, it's not. But God bless you all the same. I'd like to see you stay. We talk about all sorts of crazy, wacky shit. No. You're fine.
No, you're more than welcome to stay.
You're more than welcome to stay. I just
you may encounter some madness.
I mean, I just wondered, like, how long did they sit there before they realized? Well, I don't know if this is necessarily the baby development podcast that I was told it was. They're saying a lot of swear words and laughing about madness and saying Fred Flintstone, Donald Trump's 2024 vice presidential candidate. Don't leave, Dale. We have too much fun over here. We need you. And you obviously have I feel so bad because, I mean, that's legitimately somebody thinking that makes sense. Baby development research.
Every question was on baby development, child care, and no
research project.
Yeah. Baby development and research. Wow. I feel bad for no reason at all, really. I just feel bad for that person. I was hoping they were a troll. I really was.
Yeah. I was too, and then there on the end, I started thinking.
I'll subscribe to check up on y'all. My baby needs me. They got to be playing. Jill, just tell me you're kidding around. Please tell me you're a troll.
Be a joke. It's
got to be. I'm just gonna pretend like it is. I appreciate you subscribing.
If it was, it's savage trollery.
Yeah, it is savage trollery. It's trollery to the next level. Like, you're the next generation. We're still, a Spock and Scotty and all those. You're Picard. Either that or it's witchcraft, because I genuinely feel bad. And if it's real, I'm sorry that we didn't have the answers you're looking for. Yeah. Hey D, I love how. Hey D, me mom worked in a preschool childcare. I can't do it. My mom worked in a preschool childcare under a church across the road from us. That's outstanding. Yep. It would sound like your mom was cut from my mama's cloth. We'll see him one day. I don't know if yours is still living, but blessed be those women.
Oh yeah.
Then Dale comes asking, fart inhaler talking about parenting. Thank you, Mainline. See, Mainline Mitch, we got a working brain in there. Fred the
Yeah.
All right. On that one,
Wow.
I don't even know what's funny about that. On that one, we reached our 2 hours and 30 minutes. God bless y'all. This has been a fun show. Hey, hit the subscribe button, click the bell.
Yeah. Things are quickly going downhill now.
Are they? Are they going downhill? Like, it seems like we've been thrust through some sort of a portal.
I know it, brother.
Yeah. Pharaoh. He just puts Pharaoh.
We're going where no man's gone before.
Yeah. So mainline Mitch is in there with them.
Yeah.
But all right.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, God bless y'all. Yeah, this has been fun. I like these roundtables. We should do one a week. What do you say, fellas?
I agree.
I love it.
Are you Steve-O, Zach, y'all down for that?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Because y'all just be us four, and we'll bring in other people
Sounds good.
and smoke their game like they've been trying to smoke ours tonight.
We'll call it the Monster Madhouse.
Yeah, there you go. The Monster Mash.
That works.
I'll tell you what, though. It was the something Madhouse, wasn't it? The BDRP Madhouse?
If it wasn't, it should have been, brother.
There it is. We'll split the difference. The BDRP Madhouse. We'll call it Merle's Madhouse. There you have it.
Oh, yeah.
At 58 from 236, my oldest and dearest friend is on the complete opposite side for me politically, but we are best of friends. Well, God bless you. Because I can't do it. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not about to sit around and listen to that bullshit. I'm not going to do it. I wouldn't care who it is. I wouldn't care who it is. I'm sorry. I'm not about to listen to the merits of dashing a baby in its mother's womb. Like, no, I'm not. Oh, the women's rights. The women's rights is shit. She can't kill a baby. It's not hers to kill. What about the father? Oh, well, the father doesn't have to carry the child. Well, the woman didn't make it by herself unless her name is Mary. And she lived a long time ago. She's gone on to be with the Lord now. Her son, our Savior. So, no. That's what we're not going to do. I'm not about to entertain that nonsense. Even if you take that part of it out, maybe.
It's all bad. What are you talking about?
Maybe I'll have a beer with them. And I said maybe. Because, like, I'm an old school Democrat, bro.
I do remember when people could talk politics and it stay cool without it going sideways, but them days are gone.
That's before one party started flying the flag of let's dash a baby in its mama's womb. That became the be all and end all of their rhetoric. And you know what I'm saying? Am I tripping?
Well, it ain't just that. They wasn't happy with the ones that they got in the womb. Now they want to castrate and mutilate all the ones that made it.
Yep. And let it be between a doctor and the mother. The father's name is never mentioned. Be between the doctor and the mother in the state of New York. They can have the child. And between the doctor and the mother, they can decide if it's viable or not. This young boy or this young girl. If it's viable. Viable for what?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Viable to be
in a hospital wing and starve to death if they don't want it.
Or to get adopted by some good young couple who may have some problem where they can't have children, and would be more than happy to adopt a kid.
That I would go for, but that's not what they're deciding at all.
Exactly. And anymore nowadays, you know what's happening in a lot of these. I'm not going to say all, but in a lot of these adoption agencies, unfortunately, we know what's happening.
Yeah.
The same thing that's happening. Those 400,000 kids that came up, documented now. 400,000 kids that came up from across the Mexican border. They're from all different countries down there. 400,000 children are missing in this country. Meditate on that. That's crazy. It's
beyond madness. It can't be allowed.
That's the size of one of the biggest cities in Oklahoma. It's if they were just to disappear all at once one night. I think somebody noticed that.
You'd think somebody would notice that over 400,000 kids are missing. That's kids that are drawing benefits, by the way.
Yes. They didn't
what about the ones they didn't catch?
Yeah. Exactly. Where's the number at with that? You know what I'm saying? That's the real question. Yeah, I mean, what's being done about it?
Exactly.
Has it even being talked about? Did y'all know that? That there's 400,000 kids, as you hear my voice speaking to you right now, that are missing in this country. No, I know y'all know. Because y'all, I mean, we're on that alternative news kick. But
Well, Marshall Blackburn did a speech in front of Congress about it the other day.
that don't matter, bro. That don't matter. You talking about politics on TV? Who's watching that? Nobody wants to see things that are affecting them tangibly in the real world. They want to go on Facebook and put what they had for dinner and see how many likes it gets throughout the course of a day.
Yeah, take pictures of themselves.
Yeah, take pictures of themselves and their
car.
beautiful kids and tell you how wonderful they are. And as soon as after the flash of the camera, they're cussing them out and I don't want macaroni and cheese and throwing their plates up against the wall.
Yeah, stand in front of somebody else's car while they're doing it.
It's so, bro. I don't know. It like I said, when that EMP happens and all the lights go off to never come back on again, I say that's a third. The Bible talks about a third of the world, third of the people.
Yep.
There it is, right off the rip. There'll be kids out there eating poison.
They'll be eating each other for a week, out.
Yeah, and that ain't the ones that have just gone on ahead and delete themselves.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's sad. It's a sad thing, but it's a real thing. How many kids out there, like 12 to 15, know how to survive in the woods, know how to make a fire without matches or a lighter, or
Are you
what
kidding
plants
me?
are
How many
poisonous?
adults?
Yeah. And if you think I'm kidding, folks, remember that game that people used to put on their phones all the time. I know one that's on the on screen right now. I won't call names, but it was called Pokemon Go. Look up Pokemon Go accident and you get yourself a sandwich because you're gonna be sitting there for a minute. There's so many videos of people walking out in the traffic, hitting parked cars, hitting each other,
walking across the street. Yep.
Walking across the street, walking off of bridges with their face right in that phone.
Yep.
Pokemon does go to the polls, and I'm being very, very careful in my rhetoric with that, Fred the Frog. I always try to toe the line. I know it's election season coming right around the corner, so.
Yeah, can you believe they put that man in prison for making a dang meme about Hillary and tweeting it? That's crazy.
I don't know if that's real, bro.
I don't care if it's real. They're out telling people it's real, and that a man went to prison for it. What are you talking about?
I mean, that's pretty. I think that's one of them sensationalized things. You know what I mean? That they hit us with.
Well, it damn well better be.
Yeah, no
Can't
shit.
be putting no man in prison for a tweet. Are you kidding me?
But they said, what did they did it under the auspices that it was.
You know darn well that's exactly what they want to do. They're trying to set a precedent for it. They want to put
they're
you
trying
in
to put
jail
people
for
in
your
fear.
tweets.
They're trying to put people in fear. They're like, hey,
well,
look at what
it's
this jabroni
because
did.
when you can't win the argument anymore, you always have to resort to violence, D. The velvet glove comes off.
Well, that's the American way, of course.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Lord forbid that we can have an honest and sincere dialogue as adults and have an exchange of ideas, though they not be equal or even coincide with one another, and somebody walks away and learns something that they didn't before, like our parents and their parents before them did it. That's all done. Now it's all about what I think and what I feel, and don't really make it never mind what you feel. People just wait their turn to talk. They don't really listen.
They don't even wait for their turn to talk 2/3 of the time anymore, though, do they?
Nope. But I ain't gonna say that too loud because we do. I think ours is just undiagnosed ADHD, in my case at least.
Yeah.
I get awful excited because it's stuff that I like talking about.
Yeah, me too. But we don't do it all the time. It's crazy.
Here, you tell it. We don't do it all the time, just most of the time.
Yeah.
But that's somebody who we're on the same vibrational frequency because we talk to each other daily. So even if we are, we know what we're saying.
They may not be rank strangers.
Yeah, it may not be good for being a podcaster when people need to hear exactly what you're saying and why. But folks, I'll tell you what. Thank you for all the contributors to the channel. If you want to contribute to the BDRP Supernatural, you may use the links in the description box below or the ones in the chat with you now. And again, thank you to all who have contributed. Look for your name on the end of every Cryptid Hunter episode because you are the producers who produced that show. And I couldn't be more happy with the way this channel's going and growing. God's good.
Amen.
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 Big thank you to Zach, first time on the show. This is the one I call nephew for everybody. I always give him that shameless plug, and I'm not going to change that tradition. Folks, you don't want to walk outside. You could be hailing. It hailed here the other day. If I didn't have World Weather Authority, I would have walked outside and had pop knots on my head, looked like a Braille book of the... I lost it. Damn. I usually know. See, I think it's because you're on the stream. That's what messed it up.
It'll be.
Hold on. Let me back up. Give me another shot. Can I have another shot, Zach?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, give me another shot.
It'll be.
All right.
It's going to be 74 and 80 degrees tomorrow in your area also. So and sunny.
Outstanding. World Weather Authority, folks. Everybody knows that it has bad weather sometimes. Sometimes it's good weather. Sometimes it's cold. Sometimes it's hot. But unless you are a thermometer or one of those balloons that they send up there into the upper atmosphere, then you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to weather. I'll tell you who does, though. That's Zach from World Weather Authority. Go check out his channel and watch all the videos and click like on every Mad Jack one of them, because if you don't, I'll find out. And subscribe, hit the bell so you can stay up on all the new content he's got coming out, and watch those live shows because he's giving you live updates in your area. And yeah, he's got him and his partner. They got personalities. I hate watching these weathermen that look like they're just demonized mannequins from some display at the Buckle or some other high-end store. That don't impress me. They come in there with their jabroni, their, what do you call it? Those Burlington Coat Factory suits they got on. We Fred or the Colonel to do a World Weather Authority commercial. You're absolutely right, Fred the Frog Fondler. You're absolutely right. Folks, drop a one if you would like the Colonel to... Colonel hadn't been here in a while. I hadn't seen him since he left to Japan when all that alien stuff was going on in Peru.
He should have been plugging him the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I played some old stuff of his, but yeah, we'll bring back the Colonel for that. And I'll make him a commercial. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, again, thank you, contributors. Thank you for clicking the like button. Subscribe, hit the bell. And Steve-O,
yes,
Zach, Merlin187, thank y'all. Y'all have been fantastic on this panel.
Thank you very much.
These shows are fun. They're just fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We love you guys. Thank y'all very much again. And we'll see you tomorrow night on the Late Show.
Good night, everybody. God
Good night,
bless.
everybody.
God bless.